Alrighty. So, when we left off, we're in a bit of an interesting place here. We've come here to the mill in Aberton. Because the family that runs the place has gone missing. This has been a fairly interesting series of events leading up to this so far, and if you're not caught up on the story, the quick cliff notes. A druid by the name of Ariad, a worshipper of Gazra, interrupted our opening night at the circus with a whole bunch of sabotage, culminating in the murder of our ringmaster. After we took her down, we found a map of hers that had a couple places in the town circled, this being one of them. And even before we could head in to investigate the following morning, the mayor of Aberton himself, David Holden, came out to our camp to directly ask us, after everything we'd done on opening night and stopping Ariad and protecting our the members of our show, if we could come help him with the problems the town's been having. And, well, there's quite a list of them, actually. But the good news is the professor, the leader of our sideshow, runs a relatively tight ship, and in the night had all of his members head out into Aberton to collect some information. And the first place we decided to follow up on was the Houghton Mill. Houghton family's been missing for a few days, and the sideshow was able to tell us it was actually Ulva Roadwatcher, the tattooed woman, who told us that she couldn't really get close to the building because of a huge swarm of wasps that had occupied it. We made our way up here, defeated the swarm of wasps that were lurking in the center of the mill, perfectly, efficiently, and effectively with no friendly fire whatsoever. And immediately afterward, heard a muffled voice calling for help from upstairs. And that was exactly where we had left off, as immediately Selwyn and Ara's reactions had been to rush towards the ladder leading up to the upper level of this mill to seek out the source of this cry for help or whatever it was. But Lizardman Zerg Arbus, what is your immediate reaction as you hear this cry?
Sniffing the air. Where do you think they have any honey, like, over under this thing, or like I'd like reach into the grinding mill, probably where you're not supposed to be reaching in.
You probably should not put your hands there. No, the wheel is still turning. The water is definitely still flowing and turning the mill wheel.
I'm trying to, I don't know, see if I can see where the wasps
So while you're sniffing and poking your head under the still rolling mill wheel, trying to find the wasp's nest for their honey, you don't smell any honey immediately. You definitely smell an aftermath of burning, like smoke and cinders and the flash fire that had come through here. It smells a bit crispy. What about you, Zerg?
At this point, I assume Zerg is still holding this shard of glass.
Yes,
that he
you would have
ripped from the.
You are now both very charred, but surrounded by a whole bunch of equally charred wasps next to this broken window with this grasping this window shard glass.
Lizard, do not put face in there. It's not good for health.
Hey, Zig, what happened to your face? It's you're tan. Oh my god, let me get you some lotion, some sun lotion right there.
Your face is going to look like this if you don't get your face out of there.
Armus, how about you?
I am on my knees in the garden looking at all the pretty fruits and vegetables and just sort of unaware of anything that's going around right now.
Just druid stuff. You know, druid stuff. The usual. So, Selwyn, if you continue forward, you would see at least that Ara, though he is also very burnt at the moment, is tottering after you towards this ladder. Do you just head right up?
I look down and ask the others if they're coming. No time to waste, boys. Angry.
You'd hear again.
But no.
And I'll keep climbing.
It leads up probably about 10 feet up onto the upper level here. And as you reach this, you would be able to see more of the top floor. It's kind of an open living area that just looks down over the mill floor with a few chairs arranged around a table, a fairly long counter on the southern end here for some food preparation. And
I would like to start sneaking just in case.
Okay, I was about to ask you what exploration activity you're taking, so that's perfect. So you start sneaking, and you've got plenty to hide behind here as Ara follows up behind you and sees much of the same here. You can see that there are 2 separate rooms sectioned off from this open living area, one immediately to your right as you're coming up, assumedly with the door around the corner, and then one door directly in front of you leading to the south half of this, and that's where you can hear the cries coming from, is the southern room.
All right. I'd like to walk up to the door and inspect it just to check if there's any traps.
And as you get there, you can see clearly that there are a couple of more severe scorch marks along the walls up here. The flash fire from Ara's burning hands just kind of ignited a little powder flash down the lower level. It definitely didn't reach up here. It didn't scar anything terribly badly. Those flash explosions are very brief. Although they get hot, they rarely actually start proper fires. This is almost certainly caused by something different. And Ara, as you come up here, what are you doing?
I'm following someone right
Okay,
now,
just
going towards the
kinda
voice.
Helping
Yeah.
the sneak.
Tottering.
Helping her sneak, exactly.
You're doing a good job.
So, make me a perception check there, Selwyn, as you just quickly look this door over.
A 12.
With the 12, as you look at this, it's a very simple wooden door and actually doesn't even appear to have a keyhole or bear any sort of a lock whatsoever, much less anything that they could trap. There's no tripwires or anything that you can see. The internal doors of the building don't look like they have any security at all.
I gently open the door.
So someone up top opens this with Ara peeking over her shoulder here. What's going on down the mill floor, Zerg Lizard Man?
Well, I'll try and get you more oil later. Maybe it'll make you a little less crispy.
Yes, oil for the crisp is good. I like it. Where did the small tree go? listen
They
for
went over
screams.
this way.
So you can see them from here because this isn't it is just a loft up above the floor. Like it looks down straight
Zerg
over.
is
Ara's
capable.
fair. Fair.
He just doesn't care.
Fair enough. I just was making sure there wasn't like a misunderstanding on whether there was a wall here or not, because there's no wall leading up top, so fair enough. It's just,
I'll start heading that way, yeah.
and besides, whoever looks up? Like, nobody looks up.
I do.
Constantly, same.
So as Zerg and the Lizard start coming towards the ladder, and Arbus, I assume, is still kneeling out in the garden outside, naturing, next to a still unconscious spider, who I'm pretty sure is just right here on the other side of that large double door that has been crunched by the people's elbow. Because this is the kind of heroing we do here. Selwyn opens up this door. Now it leads into a bedchamber with a pretty large bed packed into the corner right in front of you. And atop a couple of sturdy shelves, there's some vases with old dried flowers. Out on the western half of the room, you can see that a very heavy armoire has fallen down face first and now takes up most of the western side of the room. Its doors appear to have been flung open because they're open all the way out on the sides of it, so it's open face down on the ground. And that, whenever it fell, has stirred up a lot of the sawdust and mill grain that just permeates this entire building. And now it's left in little piles up against the edges of the room, of the wall itself, and the foot of the bed around it. And as you kind of take this all in here, you hear now again from much closer, coming from underneath the armoire.
I look down. I look back. I need a cleanup on aisle 4 here.
Wait, the aisles? Is this where they keep the honey?
Yes,
It's on the
underneath,
aisle, yes.
underneath that armoire is the honey.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
Live all
steps
over this
aside.
place. I'd walk forward and lift up the armor.
So the armor is down here in this room.
Ah, yes.
So as you come down into here, and Ara and someone kind of make way, you reach down to pick it up, but this actually is a thick, solid wood furnishing. It's very simply crafted, and it's very heavy. I need an athletics check. Yes, I am asking a second level Pathfinder character for athletics check to lift up a piece of freaking furniture. That's where we're at right now. That's the level of heft.
So I got a 15.
Oh.
So with a 15, you reach down, get your claws underneath it, and kind of scrabble. And heave! And it does not move at all.
Zig, I have a test for you. I bet you couldn't lift this armoire, whatever they call it.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
You're wrong. I don't think you can lift it.
Obviously I can.
I could
Look at
lift
me.
it, but I just want to test, see if you can lift it, because
Test
I feel
this.
like you can't.
16.
With a 16, Zerg bends down. You can't as easily get your fingers under this as he can his claws. The front of this is just flat smooth, and the door's folded all the way out to the outside, so they don't leave any kind of a gap. So you just sort of scrabble your fingers just against the wood, squeaking a bit as you can't really get a grip, and you manage to move it maybe a centimeter across the ground before it just kind of thunk back onto the ground. It's pretty heavy.
It's
All right.
slippery.
It's
Boys,
slippery. I'll get my.
there's a new
I was
stone
gonna say
in
I
town.
want to give it a try. Ara wants to try.
Oh no.
Bro, just take a turn.
19.
Oh my, natural 20.
Natural 20.
So a 19 is a failure, but a natural 20 increases your degree of success by 1, turning that failure into a success. So Lizard Man reaches down, can't move it at all. Zerg tries, barely moves it a centimeter. Selwyn walks into the room.
Oh no, Ara.
No, it's me.
That
Oh,
was
it's-
Selwyn.
oh, yeah.
Ara said he
That was
wanted
Selwyn.
Yeah,
to.
that's
He,
right, that's
he
right.
hasn't come in yet. Selwyn
Oh, that's right.
comes into the room, looks at the both of you, and just what do you do here, Selwyn? What you just pick it up?
It's like
So-
the both of them. I lift it up as high as I can go and gesture. Come on, little help here. I need to pull it all the way up.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
got tiny fingers. It's easier for her to get leverage.
We loosened it up, obviously.
You lift it up, but
Push
you
it
can
up.
only lift it up about 2 feet or so off of the ground because you are quite small and you're not strong enough to lift it up like over your head. So you can pull it up to maybe about your chest. And as you do, all of the grit and sawdust that was trapped underneath the armor when it fell rushes out in a massive, near like blinding cloud for a moment. Just this big whoof of dust fills the room and actually completely stops Ara from even being able to see into the room for a moment. And this only just swirls around for a second before it clears away and you can see who was trapped underneath. Also, with his hands thrown up in front of his face as the dust is clearing, looks kind of up around it through transparent eyes. And you can see the full body of another one of these strange little demon things that you had seen down at the river outside the camp. Though where those seem to be just made almost of pure water, this one looks like it's just solid air and dust. As someone's standing there holding this, blinking the dust from her eyes, and Lizardman and Zerg are just kind of looking down, and this thing looks up at you. There's a moment of just pause before its eyes go wide,
Oh, hi.
and it just starts sucking in a massive amount of air and inflating.
Uh-oh.
So, no idea what this thing is doing. Let's put some initiative on here until we figure it out. This is very fast.
It would be a bit ambitious to roll stealth for this one, right?
I'm gonna say that when you decided to lift the armoire, you have forfeited rolling stealth for initiative, yes. Aramis! Outside in the garden! Senses a disturbance in the force! Like, I don't know how you're not even... I'm going to say you do not qualify to win initiative here, as you have no idea anything is taking place on the other side of the house.
Well, I can still do something out here.
You can absolutely What are you doing with your turn, Aramis? How's the garden?
Well, I mean, I'm enjoying these beautiful strawberries on this bush right here. It's amazing. Very fantastic, right? But is this spider that caught the people's elbow, is he dying? By chance, do I notice is he dead or just unconscious or?
Miraculously, the spider appears to still be alive, which is kind of impressive and defies biological belief, seeing as Zerg crushed its exoskeleton with his elbow. But it's still alive. It's not dying. It will eventually be able to crawl away from this, though it's definitely never going to be the same spider it once was.
I'm gonna fix up the spider.
I crushed that for a good reason. You fix it, whatever.
Meanwhile, outside, this is happening. And while you're tending to the spider, back inside the room here, real quick, while you're tending to the spider, Loopy Caster, my dude, it's time to start handing out the villain points. It's time to slam Welcome to the Jam. I will take that. Thank you very much. Add it with, put it with my other one, hold it on to a time of need. And as this little creature here sucks up a ton of air, in a blink, it swells up. Now this thing's only like 2 feet taller, so it's very, very small. In a blink, it swells up to be almost 50% taller and it's spherical before it blasts that air out with incredible force, and not force to push you away, but it almost feels like this wind and the bits of dust and grit that it's carrying are blasting over and ripping across your skin like a sandstorm. And I need everybody to make a reflex save. Everybody, Lizard Man, Selwyn, and Zerg. The three of you are in the room.
16.
See a natural 20 in there. Lizard, critical success. You have scales. Blowing sawdust at you does nothing. But everyone else, it gets through your armor fairly easily because it is so fine. And as it rips across you, Selwyn and Zerg are each going to take 10 slashing damage from this breath.
Oh my gosh.
Which, after the incineration that Zerg has taken, is actually just going to leave him barely standing. As the crispiness made it easier to open you up with the sandstorm afterwards. And then this little creature, seeing that Lizard Man in front of him seems to have been wholly unaffected, but also sees that Selwyn is still sitting there, getting hit with this, but still holding the cabinet, is going to quickly step out from under it into the corner of the room so he does not get stuck again. He doesn't want to go back in the box. So Selwyn, as we start your turn, the amount of sand and grit that he has blown throughout this room make the entire bedroom now difficult terrain. It's swirling around, and for you, it's almost up to your knees how much of it he has huffed out.
I would like to drop the cabin. Yeah, go on.
You drop, if this may, I don't know if this will affect your decision making or not, but
Yes.
right at the start of your turn, actually, Chial just tossed another hero point, and we're getting loaded up today.
Wow.
Give my boy Zindern some point. So,
Hell yeah.
Selwyn, you do actually have a hero point. I don't know if that changes your frame of reference, but there you go.
It does not. I'll drop the thing. I imagine that's just a free action.
That's just a free action. You drop the cabinet back on the ground, but at this point, with how much sand is swirling in here, it doesn't even change how much this crit's blowing around.
And I'll draw my swords as I move to here. And I will cast Twin Fate. I'll use Twin Fate. I cast Sword.
So is Twin Fate one action?
It is 2 actions, but
because there is no move and draw weapon as part of the move. Those are 2 actions: move and draw your weapons.
Okay.
I think
I
technically
thought you could as part of the move.
No, that is not a thing anymore.
All right.
So you would only be left with 1 action left as you approach this air demon.
Right. Well, that does change things. You know what? I'm not even gonna draw with swords. I'm just gonna punch it twice.
You're gonna move over and twin fade it with your little gnome hands.
Hell yeah.
Sounds good.
Worked before.
Mm-hmm. First attack is an 11.
11 is definitely going to miss.
Yeah. And let's get the 1 hero point possession out of the way. Just blow my load early.
I was setting your arrow on that one.
Yep. Now it's a 12.
It went up to a 12. Still not gonna do it.
Right.
There's just so much crap blowing around in here, and not only is it difficult for you to see, it's difficult for you to move up and around this armoire that also comes up to about your waist. That's also covered in sand. As you stagger up, you just barely can get the power to swing a fist.
All right, and then here comes the fainted fist, the one that comes from below, from the dust.
The secret hand.
And that is 27.
Oh boy! You may have whipped the first one. Yeah, you may have whipped the first one, but that one is definitely a crit.
All right. So that's just double damage, right?
Yep, that's we just roll the damage once and double it, yeah.
Yep. Roll damage and then add sneak. Sneak attack doesn't double, right?
Sneak attack does.
That's
if it doesn't say it doesn't, it does. Because a lot of stuff has changed, but I'll say it doesn't for now, and we can look it up when it's not your turn.
Well, 8 damage, and I'll look it up.
8, and then 7 of that is going to double, so you hit him for 15.
Yes.
Well,
maker from the dust.
What do you do?
No.
Well,
15 will do it.
So I come up, right? I'm coughing my lungs out because this dust is just ruining me. I throw a little jab that just completely goes into all the smoke. I can't really see. Throw another one. Still ain't seeing. Then I have a thought. If I can't see shit, then maybe he can't either. So I fire up the ultra punch from underneath into all the smoke that I'm almost naturally covered by, and come up like a Shoryuken.
So as you
realistically,
this fight was 2 seconds. You lifted up the armoire, he went and blew a bunch of sand over everyone, ripped through you and Zerg's armor. Lizard Man just got kind of confused. And as he scampered out from under this armoire, you dropped it, clambered over the top, and just socked him up into the wall where he crumples down into the corner unconscious. This little thing, as it gets knocked out, losing its form almost immediately. It looks like a tiny demon, but then you hit it, and its limbs just kind of fade as its wings curl in, and it just becomes a mass, sandbagged in the corner of the room. Just almost an impression on top of all the sawdust of slightly thicker, darker air. Shapeless, almost. And by the time the dust clears for Lizard Man and Zerg, the threat is already dealt with. I don't think you should use your weapons anymore, Zindern. I think you're having a better luck with your hands in this campaign so far. Maybe you should just lean into this whole punching thing.
You don't mean to make a reflex save to catch these hands.
And continuing the hero point love train that's going around here, Pale Scythe tossing another one into the pool. Hero point for Potato Plant Bro. Best luck with shenanigans. Thank you, Pale Scythe. Thank you, all of you guys tossing these hero and villain points in here, building up our chances to do cool things. So when's the monk dedication coming? Are you taking that one at 3, Selwyn, or?
No, I need 14 strength for that shit. That ain't happening.
Somehow,
I thought.
You punch this thing into the corner. Again, as the dust clears, Zerg, clinging to consciousness here, didn't even have a chance to react to this. Aravis is down in the garden with some strawberries and a spider, trying to help out.
Zig, your face.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
No, that's your skin you're rubbing off. No, stop. No, stop. You look the same either way. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
That's racist. Don't say this.
Yeah, maybe just go.
I'm going to the medic. I'll see you guys momentarily. Gray, help!
Yeah,
So just- Immediately leaves, heads back out to the garden. Because, I mean, as soon as you leave the room, you can see where Aravis is down there, and heads over to get tended to.
Spider's probably trotting away by now. My friend, you are welcome.
And we've actually got one more even. I didn't see come through on my thing because it's bits. I'll totally like bits are perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. Miko Rems jumped on, followed the channel, and then threw 500 bits to toss another hero point to Selwyn the Hulk.
Wow.
You guys getting loaded up.
Holy
Thank you so much for that.
What's
Sorry, I
happened,
didn't see that
Selwyn?
one at first.
Well, I lifted an armoire that none of the two strong people supposedly in the
It was
grid.
slippery.
You're not even here. Shut the fuck up.
What is in
And
Ermor?
a tiny. Oh well, it's something you keep your clothes in. A clothes is something you wear.
Oh, of course.
Tiny demon ran out, blew air at us. It hurt a lot. And then I knocked it out in one punch. Easy. Simple as that. Off.
My hero, Selwyn. Very
Yeah.
good.
Could you patch me up, please? And I think the monster man probably needs some touching too, and a plant.
So what's going on
Okay.
up
Yeah,
here
you're
with the
working out for
monster
you,
man
so
and the
that's what I'm
plants up
saying.
here in this room?
We'll fix you up first.
So I heard that the honey was in here, in an aisle.
I'm poking. I'm
I'm
this
also
thing.
looking for honey.
Yeah, there's an aisle. There's an aisle somewhere in here. I don't see any aisle though. Nah. This place blows. We should leave.
This sucks. Let's go.
Party's over.
I failed to roll one of terrible puns. We
Get
just
outta here.
don't give them the reaction they want. Like,
Tiny-
it was too awful.
I need 10 minutes
I-
per person, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Can
We have time.
Yikes.
So, Sorry,
I,
Ara.
pick this, can I pick this thing up?
Yeah, it would at this point be light bulk. And it is surprisingly cohesive. It is a body that you can lift. It doesn't like fall through your hands or anything. But it feels almost like an incredibly light, fine gel. It is about as large as you.
Is
full
there any
mass.
sacks or bags or like anything in this room?
Looking around this room, there would not be any in here, but there would definitely have been some in the living area just outside the door.
All right, I wanna go grab one of those. If it's big enough to shove this thing in, I want to shove it in it.
So you head outside over next to the fireplace here on the western side of this living space, and they've got a couple of little fire pokers and skewers just in a sack kind of laid up against the fireplace. So you just dump all that out and take the sack. Head back around into the room and just scoop up this wad of air in a bag, which, again, still about as big as you. It weighs nearly nothing, but it's just huge. It's like a bag of packing peanuts that you're trying to carry around here.
And then I take it all the way out to Arbus, if I can move myself. Just jump off the ledge, walk over to Arbus, get in line.
Everyone heads up and then moves limping out of the room, and you see Arvis first, Selwyn, and then Zerg, and then Ara. All of your team desperately injured here as they
Get in
just one
fucking
after
line.
another
I feel great.
Fine.
forming
Bit
an
of a
orderly
breeze.
queue. The lizard man's fine. He blew on him. It was weird.
I love how I have a line, triage line.
So,
Can I fix up
Arvis,
someone else while she's fixing me up?
you can. Yes.
All
Hey,
right.
Clan,
Oh,
do you need
well-
some medicine? Leaf?
I'm
Huh?
good.
You're looking a little bit charked there, buddy.
Well, Zerg needs more than me. I don't know what happened to him. He caught on fire.
I don't trust myself to touch those muscles.
Good.
So,
You
Uh,
better watch yourself,
I wanna-
or you'll get
Take
some
it-
of this.
some of this. I want to take a moment to try to identify what this massive blah is.
okay, so you poke around this ball of something, while Arbus tends to Selwyn and Zerg patiently waits his turn. Are you just hanging around there for 10 minutes while Selwyn's getting treated? Zerg just standing there, crispy and slashed.
Just crispy, kind of trying to stand up. Yes, I feel fine. Strongest.
You're looking a little lightheaded there, Sark. Are you good?
Stop talking about me. You do your thing. I'll be fine.
Lizard man, what
I
are
need to
you
sit
up
down
to?
for a minute. I'm gonna go lean up against, just sit on the floor against this barrel here.
Okay, some of the barrels of the grain waiting to be milled. Lizard man, so what are you doing up at this top level while the healing is getting handed out down below?
Is there anything over here?
Well, I mean, the living area itself is fairly plain. I mean, these people... Aberdeen's not a very big town in the first place. They don't have a lot to them. There is some food and pots and pans and basic cooking supplies in the cupboards here that are near this
Like,
fireplace.
what kind of food?
It would just be stuff they could come across here. They obviously would have a quite large amount of things they could bake. They've always got a decent supply of bread. They live in the mill themselves. But also a few salted meats stored throughout a couple of various sacks and some fruits.
I'll take
And-
meats.
You know what? Roll me a d20.
Okay. D.
Just a flat check.
Got an 8. Oh, no, I got a 20. Never mind. That was
You
the
know what?
lowest.
You
I
find
got
3
a
jars of honey.
20. Yes!
He found dial.
I knew she was gonna roll a natural 20. By the way, I just didn't say it. I knew it.
You find a couple of jars of honey in there as well as you're rooting around in these people's pantry.
I knew it. Take it. Zeg, look at this. I'm gonna grab the honey and like stack it precariously, and then I'll just like walk down the wall with holding all of my honey. Walk over
So-
to Zig.
Arabus, before you take your check here, just joining on to this love train starting out today's session. Mirne1116 with another tip. Don't think the Mew got pointed yet, and I have a bit of spare change since I'm home for a month, lol. Arabus also getting a hero point.
Thank you.
There you go. Put one in.
Thank you very
Wasp
much.
honey acquired.
All right.
So,
Honey. It's
How
good
was
honey.
it wrong?
Arabus, while you are treating someone here who has come to the front of the line with some, admittedly surprisingly deep scrapes and cuts across her arms and shoulders here with a sanded balloon across her, standing next to the barely conscious Zerg, who is patiently waiting, make me a medicine check.
Sure as it wasn't the blowjob I wanted.
Holy crap! 19.
So with a 19, you succeed, and over 10 minutes of medical treatment, you restore 2d8 health to Selwyn.
Oh yeah.
You get
Almost
8.
full.
You get 8, and you get a strawberry.
Oh.
I got honey.
Thank you.
Lizard Man
Oh,
comes down
thanks for the
sometime
visit.
during this with his precarious stacks here. And so, what is your nature, little potato man?
Little potato man. It is 6.
So as you suss through this thing. It's kind of difficult, given its current form, to really put together a whole lot of what this thing is. But you did just barely get a glimpse of it in the beginning of the fight before it was near immediately ended. And having seen this now and the one in the river earlier, you're pretty positive these things are mephits. Mephits are elementals. They are from most elementals are from other planes, but mephits are almost native to the material plane, and they have an actual physical body more so than a traditional, like a fire elemental from the actual plane of fire would, who, when it would die, would pretty much would be gone, or a water elemental who would just splash down to the ground and become nothing. These mephits are strange, mischievous little creatures. They're not wildly aggressive, really, and it's probably more likely this thing attacked because it had no idea what was happening, had been trapped underneath an armoire for who knows how long, and was scared. The only things that you really know about air mephits in particular is that, like all mephits, they are just healed naturally by exposure to their element. Not that it super mattered, but if you take this thing outside into a light breeze, it's going to wake up almost immediately as it's rejuvenated by the wind. Also, all mephits have this similar breath weapon. They can coalesce and expel their elements. That's basically their main line of defense.
I convey all that word for word, muttering to myself.
You got 10 minutes. You got plenty of time.
Yeah. Just anyone in earshot can hear me muttering all this to myself. Yep. They're weird.
The one now?
It's an air mephit.
Right?
It'll wake up if I put it in air. Yes.
Aren't we in air right now?
You are inside. There's no. It's
there's air
it's
in
basically
here.
wind that wakes it up, more or less.
Yeah, I'm asking him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, air.
You mean like wind?
Yeah, that. Wind.
All right, I'm gonna walk up to the back, pull out my sword, and start stabbing through.
So you just
It ain't waking up this time.
you just stick your sword through the bag a couple of times, making sure this mephit isn't going to be waking up or going anywhere. You know, you roll any dice for this. It's literally unconscious in a sack, and your sword pierces through it again like it's a very thin, fine gel. Like almost no resistance at all. It's harder to punch it through the sack than it is to punch it through the unconscious and then dead body of the mephit. So after 10 minutes,
What? I saved it. This is what it gets.
After 10 minutes of Selin being healed, stabbing our new friend to death, and Lizard Man finding some honey
And
meat, I suppose that it is the turn of Zerg for Erebus to step forward.
Yes.
All right. So, give me another.
I don't
medicine
feel so
check.
good. I think I'm a little sleepy. I need the sleepies.
I wouldn't recommend a nap right now. Probably won't wake up.
You're the medicine person. You do the fix. I'm very strong. I think I'm going to pass out.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, that was a
17.
wild ride on that D20 right there. That was an adventure. But with a 17, you do succeed. You will heal Zerg for 2d8 as well.
Never mind, I feel better.
Well, better is going to be a relative term. Ooh, much better!
That's better.
13.
Much better.
So,
And you get
All things-
strawberry too.
you are a very large, beefy man, and Arbus treats you with their healer's kit, able to patch you up somewhat, hold the charred and burnt cinders of what was once your skin together over the worst of your wounds. But that still leaves you a decent bit below half. So, definitely better improvements, to be certain. And during that time, while Zerg is being treated, I see Ara wanting to run off into the upper loft. What are you after? Where are you going?
Did you say there's another room up here?
Yes, there are a couple of rooms.
Yep.
There is that southern room, and there is another doorway that leads to another smaller bedroom up here on the northern side that you could very easily make your way over and just kind of poke your head in here. This room would probably be a lot more interesting to you. It's much more colorful and decorated. The walls hanging with fairly simple paintings, but very vibrant paintings of assorted fantastic beasts. Some kind of massive multi-headed serpent, a lion with the tail of a scorpion, a man with the legs of a horse, and a giant flaming bird. All of the clothes and fixings of this room are smaller. Not small, not you small, not like child-sized, but not quite big enough for an adult. And if you look through here at all, the clothes stored in the small drawers here would actually be of surprisingly fine make for Aberton.
Okay. Cool. Staring at the picture, there's nothing else in the room that's noteworthy?
Not really. No.
Okay.
It's their daughter's bedroom.
Yeah.
Nothing super fantastical in there unless you want to steal some clothes that you're painting.
I take the
Obviously, it's got some various like trinkets and odds and ends of personal value to it, a couple of simple books, but there's nothing that really stands out as interesting.
I take the painting of the fiery bird.
So it's probably the size, maybe like 4 sheets of paper. It's decently large on a simple canvas, but again, a reasonably large one. So it's also almost as big as you, but just simply hanging off of a nail on the wall. You can take it down with no effort.
Yep.
If I don't think I did. If I treated Zerg, could I also battle medicine him too?
You can. Battle medicine is a different pile. You can't treat him for another hour, but you can use your battle medicine, but then you can't use it again until like the next day, because that's a once per day.
So I can't do battle medicine for an hour.
You can battle medicine right now.
Oh, okay.
You can't, because they're 2 completely separate pools that don't interact. You can treat somebody once per hour, you can battle medicine somebody once per day. There's no overlap between
Oh,
those 2
nice.
things.
Okay, I was lumping them into the same category.
So the other thing you can do is, since he is quite injured and the mill seems to be safe for now, you can just stay here for an hour and continue treating him, and then you can roll another medicine check at the end of the hour. That is up to you guys. The time scale for 2nd edition is much more reasonable. There is a lot less we went adventuring for 6 minutes, and then we were all out of spells, so we went home for the rest of the day. Like, the time will pass. Like, you will be working throughout the afternoon. You can just rest a whole hour and treat him further. That is an option.
Yeah, I'm game for that if you guys are.
I think we should, but we should also save the plant.
Well, you can get included in this.
Yeah, the plant is also fairly burned, and after you begin to treat Zerg superficially, the plant comes out carrying what appears to be a fairly large canvas with a flaming bird rising up over a soaring gout of fire, painted in a wide array of reds and majestic purples, very vibrant.
I look to Solon. Fall, you know what this is?
Well, I'm no expert, but it appears to be a painting.
What's on what's the painting of?
What roll would I need to make to know, theoretically, what
that
this
would be
painting is
nature.
of? Mr. GM?
It would be nature.
Oh, you're really low all of a sudden, for me at least.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can
hear
say
you.
nature, but I'm not sure.
Am I?
Nice again.
There you
What
go.
the
There it
heck?
goes.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I-
it was-
like I said, Zoom
Yeah.
may have some weirderies today because Zoom is experiencing about, 20 times its usual load, thanks to the, quarantine.
Can I roll
Everyone's currently
society?
hanging out it would be a
Oh.
nature.
Nature. I'm even trained. All right, let's
You don't need to be
let's
trained.
try it. 13. What's the picture?
Maybe you do need to be trained. It's
Yeah.
a flaming bird. It probably represents some kind of creature that may actually exist, but again, well, you're not trained. You don't know what it is.
It's
In fact, you have failed so hard that I get a villain point from Matt Roman. I'm
Wow.
stacking these. Oh, baby. This is going to be the good times when I get to some actual encounters. Villain point for the only streamer I watch. Thanks for the years of great content. Thank you so much for the support, my guy. Appreciate it. But yeah, you
there
don't
should be
you
a
don't know what
timer
it
on
is.
the villain points.
Let's. I should put a display on screen somewhere. Maybe that says how many I have and like have a cap. Would be a good idea, but they
yeah,
can't
maybe.
do that right now,
Anyway,
so we'll do that for later.
That is the famous firebird, the pumperknuckle. I hope this helps, Aura.
I just turn around, walk back, and put it back in the room.
When I think
Walk
you're
back
fibbing.
out, jump down, and just go get in line.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
I
So-
think you're lying to me.
Ara also wants some treatment here, so you can definitely roll a check for him as well while you're kind of tending to Zerg, because you realize after 10 minutes, Zerg is going to take some more intensive treatment. It's going to take some time for some of these remedies to settle. It's going to take you some focus to really stitch a lot of this up.
23 for Ara.
And with a 23, you would succeed once again, restoring 2d8 hit points.
Okay.
It's very
We are the
easy.
best medic.
It's very easy to patch a tree back together.
9.
9.
Easily doubling his current HP.
E.
Solid. So,
Much better.
are you going to want to wait an hour? Like, are any of you, do you want to do that? Whoever mentions it, is that, because it'd be Arabis and Arabis and Zerg be the two would become apparent to after 10 minutes, and this is going to take some more time. He's pretty
I mean,
injured.
basically just see Lizardman sitting on one of the barrels with like his top, like fangs, I guess, like around the lid of the jar, with his tongue just like licking out all of the honey from the jar. That's basically, yeah, and basically like and you know, I'd be sitting there with my head kind of down, making sure not to spill any of the honey, and just eyes would like be going in general directions, just trying to keep alert, you know. I'm doing my job.
Doing your job, eating some honey. How about Selwyn?
I'm definitely for waiting.
I mean,
We can't have to-
if you're gonna be hanging out the mill for an hour
right.
at the floor here, now suddenly becoming a medical word.
I'm gonna practice playing the tiniest flute in the world.
So Selwyn pulls out a flute that's about 3 inches long, maybe 2 millimeters around, that she can barely even really hold between her gloved hands without dropping it, because it's like a little piece of uncooked spaghetti. It's an incredibly tiny little carved wooden flute. And you're going to try to play it?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. I don't know if that's physically possible, but why don't you go ahead and try to... Are you trained and perform?
Absolutely.
Why don't you just roll a perform check and see what the dice tell us. I don't know if your
That's telling me
mouth
at
is...
15.
Surprisingly, she seems to be able to get some amount of air to go into it rather than around it. And it's not so much playing as it is making sounds, but for how mismatched your size and that thing's size are, that's honestly pretty impressive. Zerg, and even Ara, actually, you could continue treating Ara as well. And even Selwyn, who technically is still missing some health over the next hour, but obviously your main focus is going to be...
I'll make a medicine check for myself after the hour.
Okay,
I'm
is going to
fine
be
with that.
mainly trying to tend to Zerg. So
I would
after...
give the other jar of honey to Zig to help.
As I was saying,
you know.
I'm gonna spend some time refocusing while this hour's passing.
I love honey.
And it's good stuff too. It's like good quality honey.
Kid thing.
Not for nothing.
So there's just slurping sounds
Yeah,
all
the
over
lizardman and
the-
Zerg are just slurping honey directly out of 2 different jars. You know, like civilized people. But Arabis, go ahead and make me another nature check for a further hour of treatment.
You mean medicine, right?
Medicine?
What I don't know what I said, but yeah, medicine.
Yeah,
I
nature.
said nature.
There's
Yeah,
a
medicine.
thing for that, but I don't have that.
My bad.
22.
Getting pretty solid on these. Okay, so with a 22, you restore another 2d8 hit points to Zerg.
Can I make one for myself as well?
Absolutely,
11
you can.
HP, brother.
7. I'm not very good at this.
Yeah, you're not fantastic at it, turns out. So yeah, with a 7, you're unable to do any better than Arabis did for you. And I mean,
Now the
you're
killer
mostly
knows where
patched
you're
up, kind of hurt. You don't make it any worse, but you also don't make it any better.
You'll hear
but
him
after-
healing's fucking bullshit.
After that hour, as the morning is passing along and the sun outside is quickly heading up to its zenith, Zerg is feeling a lot better. You have largely patched him up now, and while he is still very burned, still very stung, the swelling from the stinging at least would have almost entirely gone down. And it doesn't hurt so much anymore. How much that is due to the nerve endings on the outside of him being burned away, irrelevant. Doesn't hurt so much anymore is the point.
I feel fine.
You're welcome. However,
Touch one of the burn
I
marks.
did not thank you, but yes.
you can, if you share your honey with me. Just a little bit.
Why would
I
a
do
third
feel
jar?
better.
Lizardman ate one. Gave one to Zerg.
It is slowly being shuffled behind me.
I went through a lot of trouble for this honey, but all right, you have the rest. I go find more.
Yes. Yes.
There's the tenny. I looked.
You want to give that back?
I have earned this, I believe.
Oh, nice one, Gray. Earn. As in the earn the honey is in.
I'm
Huh?
going to leave now.
I walk
feel
away.
fine. I feel worse all of a sudden. What is wrong?
So, you head out from the Houghton family mill here, having defeated the wasps that plagued it, and finding another one of these mephits, these strange little elemental demon imp things, trapped inside the home. But no real closer to learning anything further about whether Ariad had further plans for the town, and certainly no indication of what had happened to the Houghton family or where they'd gone. So, we're gonna head back to Greater Aberton here. And as it's now getting fairly close to noon, what's your next plan here?
We should go deal with those boars.
Bowls? The bowl? I
Boars.
thought the orchard. Orchard?
Orchard, yeah.
Ah.
So the boars that the mayor was talking about are down in the old Odlin Orchard, on the other side of town, on a farm on the southern end. But I mean, it's not like that's terribly far away because it's not a terribly big town. It's relatively small, so it'd just take you a couple minutes to walk on over there if that's where you wanted to follow up next. Definitely doable.
Yeah.
If no one has any complaints, obviously.
It's gotta go.
So,
Just gotta
sorry?
go shopping at some point.
For what?
I need a repair kit.
well,
Actually,
there
I mean, we
is
should-
there is certainly a general store in the town that you could stop
Yeah.
by and shop at as well, and you would be heading past it on your way down south. It is this kind of square building here. You'd be heading right by the general store, which doesn't even seem to have a name so much as it just has a sign posted in the ground outside of it. It says shop on the front, and a front door just hanging open.
I'd like to head inside and say, "Excuse me, sir, can I buy 2 sets of thieves' tools?"
So you stride into this small little place where you can see a dwarf sitting kind of in front of a counter with a little rag just polishing off the front end of it. And he's got a bandana just drawn around the top of his head and a pipe sticking out of the corner of his mouth, as most dwarves are wont to do. Pretty large, unkempt white beard hanging near down to his waist. As he's facing away from you, kind of reaches up, clean this at eye level. And you walk in, He just turns around and squints at you out of one eye. And you can see he's got an eye patch over his other one.
Well, yeah. Should I come in again? Do the whole spiel again? Did you hear me the first time? You good?
He just kind of looks you up and down, turns around and tosses his rag just kind of over the counter, just vaguely into the space behind it. Pulls his little overalls up and turns around to face the group of you proper. Thieves' tools. Aren't you, you want a circus folk?
Yeah, sometimes there's locks that need picking. Like when the wagons, bind and the locks break.
He kind of walks up to you, looks you up and down, and turns, just kind of looks, are you all here for this, the whole party? Stop in the shop real quick.
Kind of doubt I would have gone in.
Oh, I went in.
That's why I'm asking.
I'd be outside.
The lizard's outside. Everybody else inside?
Yeah, I'll come in.
Yep. He looks up to Arabis. You. Wolf girl from the show also. You vouch for this one?
What's that supposed to mean?
Don't trust gnomes.
Selwyn's very nice. Very nice.
Alright then. Got a couple sets of lock picks and shims if you need them for your own business.
Mike's gone.
Zoom, please!
Please Zoom.
It is Zoom, because I can see myself coming through perfectly fine in OBS, so I just have to kind of wait for...
Yeah.
Oh, we good?
You did it, yeah.
Okay.
But we'll make sure you know every time you're gone and every time you're back.
Hooray!
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
really magnanimous.
I had a couple of sets of lock picks and shims for you. If this cell comes back to haunt me, I'm gonna have the sheriff giving you what for, little gnome. You hear me?
Well, I'm into that, so, win-win.
And he just kind of nods towards the back of the store and turns around and shuffles off back towards the corner. It's not a particularly large building, but he kind of plods, almost swaying complete back side to side as he walks with just a really broad step, his feet almost turned completely outwards, and shuffles through a little crate in the corner, digging through some little wrenches and screwdrivers, and pulling out not just kits, but little individual pieces of various shims and tension wrenches and levers you'd need for picking through locks. And he puts together enough that would realistically be a couple of sets. Maybe 3 tension wrenches, only a pair of real good levers to use on the picks. What is this? That good for you, little gnome? That's all we got.
That's perfectly fine.
And just holds them out, clumped up in his hand, then holds out his other hand, palm up.
I'll fork over the gold. The last I have.
And it would be for 6 gold for the pair of them.
Yes.
So you hand over a couple of gold pieces. And he, as he put them all in his palm, in his glove, he bites the glove on his other hand, to pull it off, and just flings it kind of off into the corner of the store on the ground. And picks up one of the gold pieces and holds up in front of his good eye and squints. Bites on the corner of it.
Careful, I hear that's bad for your teeth.
Seems fine enough. Alright, fair enough. Y'all need anything else in here?
No, see ya, I'm leaving.
I'll raise my hand. I need a repair kit.
You can talk.
You can also dance.
He looks up to Arvis. This shit kind of thing is this. You can talk.
He talks a lot, yes. Very talkative. And he can
Is
dance.
this some of that kind of spooky, spooky tree elf magic of yours?
I don't do tree elf magic.
Huh. A couple of sets of a couple hammers around here. You got... He looks down at you. You got fingers, little... What do I don't know what to call you.
Call me Ara.
Yara. Right, I saw that in the posters. Saw your act. It was awful.
Yeah, it was.
Turns around. Walks back across the room. Look, you got the rest of your group here to pack the weight for you. I would have been real upset if I paid good coin just to see whatever in the goat's names that was. And
Me
pulls out
trying my
a
best.
really small little rubber mallet and a set of clamps and some pliers and another just basic flat scale lever for to use to repair some basic things. Hashes out what all you're needing. And you just want the one?
Yeah, just the one.
And then he looks down. You got coin?
I reach into the leaves, scrounge around a little bit, and pull out coin pieces.
It takes the 2 gold from you.
Yep.
You're a weird little shit. I like you. Just puts it in his pocket with the rest of Selwyn's money. What about you, wolf girl? Or what happened to you, orc?
I fucking love this guy.
I saw you in the show. You were a lot more slick and shiny and a lot less, well, crispy. You fall on a
Yes.
campfire or something.
Yes, I am lurking in my Slicky Crispies. Do you have like a belt, like a utility belt, with pouches and places to put things? This leotard is very tight. People keep shoving hands in. I need pockets. It's very hard.
Yeah. It goes over to the front of the store where there's a couple of racks of simple overalls and stuff. And he pulls out a long leather strap that's kind of interspersed with small pouches, a bandolier basically, that would wrap around you and as a support to go over your other shoulder. He just kind of holds it up for you. It's simple leather. You don't have to store a basic set of tools in for whatever your craft is, a silver piece.
Perfect. I take it. Yes, I like this. I take this.
And, aloe. I recommend you.
Hello to you too.
No, it's... he goes to a big pot that's just got a couple of fairly simple clay jugs sitting in it. Unstopper, just open on the top. And pulls up one of them. Get a bit of this on your finger. Slap it on you. Just trust me.
Yes. Yes.
3 copper pieces for this. Do you better for lamp oil for the oiling yourself up for the show. You get a lot less of that shit.
I'll take 4.
Looks back. Sure. I guess you got a lot to oil up, don't you? Pulls out 4 of them. Silver and 2 coppers. Doesn't. They ain't got lids, but a little big. They'll fit in the pouches in that there strap suit. Ain't crazy for you. And he looks up to Arbus. You keep an eye on this one. Seems right a dumb shit. Don't let him burn himself up again. If you need anything else, Varn Tarvel, you come to me. I got you covered.
Thank you.
Now get out.
I wave goodbye and leave. And make like a tree and leaf.
Oh, shut up. Stop it.
Lots of puns!
Stop it.
Oh, man. You can't do this to me, man. You gotta stop. We gotta talk about this.
That shopkeeper really didn't treat us well.
Oh.
We just got hosted by Puzzo, and all the horrible puns are gonna be coming out. They're never gonna host us again. They're gonna regret everything of their choice.
What was that
I'm
shopkeeper's
sorry.
name?
I'm sorry. I apologize. I have
Puzzo
no
pun
control
lovers.
over my players
for the
and their awful puns.
We're all
apologize.
Taldorians.
So,
Never apologize.
Monolith, that bandolier you got, does actually have a beneficial purpose.
Mhm.
The bandolier can hold anything up to up to 8 items of light bulk, or a full set of tools. So a healer's kit or a repair kit, anything like that you want to use, if it's anything that's stored in your bandolier, can actually be drawn as part of the action for using it.
Cool.
So you basically got 8 pockets. You can put a healing potion in there, and instead of having one action get your potion out of your backpack, one action drink it, it's just one action pop it out and chug it.
Sweet. Cool. I just wanted somewhere to put my meat, so that works.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I figured, which is why I thought I should tell you. It does actually do things and can be useful as well. So, with our business done here at Varn Tarvel's shop, we head on the rest of the way down to the old Odlin Orchard. And as we approach it, it's, well, a pretty big apple orchard. You guys have been in Aberton for a little while, kind of hyping up your show, obviously trying to get people to come around, setting up your tent and everything. You've been here for at least a couple of weeks, because this was going to be your big opening night. This was a big deal. You put a lot more effort into advertising this than you normally would. So you'd already be a little familiar with this orchard and how it works. It's kind of a community orchard. As far as you can tell from your time here, no one in particular really owns or runs the thing personally. Everyone in the town takes what they need and pitches in if they see work needs done. But with the boars, whatever's going on here, nobody can come near it. But it hasn't been very long, and everything looks perfectly pristine. There's nothing visibly out of the ordinary here. So as you enter, it's a pretty large field. Like, it's real big across. This thing's almost 3 football fields end to end, and over 100 yards wide. It's a pretty huge orchard. You come into it from the northwestern side, and what are you all doing? What are you hoping for?
Well, we're looking for balls.
Well, you are looking for boars, but I mean, how? It's a gigantic area. There are no immediate boars come charging out of the trees to gore you.
Can I look for boar tracks?
Absolutely can look for boar tracks. It's a great idea. Make me a survival check.
Okay. Okay. $24.
With a 24, you absolutely can. Not at first looking around, you don't
you're
seem
not
to.
again. There you go. Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
You're
At
back.
first looking around, yeah, we're just having Zoom issues today. That's what it is. You looking around, you don't see any signs of individual trails or tracks you can follow, but you can see the clear signs that some of these boars have been here. It is kind of out on the edge of town. It's not impossible that wild boars will just wander in from time to time. But poking around for a couple of minutes here, you start to find more clearer signs. Areas where the boars had marked some of these trees, signaling off their territory. Small piles of dung becoming more and more common as you approach almost straight across the southwestern side of the orchard. And as you move down there, you can see there is a pretty large irrigation trench, one of several that just runs throughout the orchard. As I mean, they don't exactly have giant sprinkler systems. It's not a whole lot more than a muddy creek that's maybe 10, 15 feet across that they just try, that catches rainwater and doesn't dry out particularly quickly. Just provide nourishment for all the trees up and down the side. As you pass down, following along more of these signals, Arbus kind of leading the way, you see a fallen log breached across it. And you're a decent distance from it here. Make me a perception check as well, Arbus. Because you know what you're following, you know what you're looking for.
12.
All right, well, she's occupied following these tracks here. You're definitely getting closer. What's everybody else doing? Exploration mode. I am going to go ahead and take the liberty of assuming Zerg is just kind of following along and not paying attention.
Just admiring my new bandolier.
Got a fantastic over his
makes
chainmail
me look-
leotard.
Look quite dashing, huh?
I'll sneak.
All right, so you're kind of creeping through the trees here. Ara, Lizard Man.
I'm going to be, I'm ready for a boar to come rushing out at literally any moment. So I'm like kind of walking in a crouch, and I have my shield up, and I'm just like doing this really dramatic crouch
You've gone
walk.
from Lizard Man to Lizard. You're just down on the ground crawling with your shield up in front of you like a horrifying monster. Keeping your shield raised. How about you, Ara?
I am admiring the trees, casting detect magic while I'm walking. Just kind of
You know,
spaced out.
On the off chance there's any
Yeah,
sort
just-
of magical things laying around in the forest here.
All right.
Or the orchard, rather. So, as you continue to track your way closer, Lizard Man very suspicious, shielding from his face. Zerg having a great time checking himself out, looking how his pecs look with this new bandolier strapped across him, and now shining with the aloe. Selwyn doing her best to kind of hide here. The first sign that you would see of the boars, unfortunately, is the squealing as they come charging out from their den underneath the log in this irrigation trench. So, I'm going to move us over here,
Well, let's go.
and we're going to roll a little bit of initiative.
Zergy.
Wow.
Zergy was very fast on the initiative.
Zerg is
He's
very
doing nothing
ready.
else, so he's pumped. He's in there.
When we're not paying attention, people are always paying attention.
Yeah.
So they got nothing else going on. So if something happens, they're ready to
Right.
react immediately. Now you can see immediately there is a large boar, a massive wild hog, huge gnarled tusks jutting out from its lower jaw, coming up the embankment here towards you. But you can also see a flurry of motion behind it, where a group of smaller boars are also kind of mustering to follow in its path. So give me a moment here because I have to roll a whole bunch of initiatives. And by the way, these little, like, Paizo Bestiary cards. Boar! He's so
Ooh.
cute.
What the, that, wow.
These Bestiary cards are so convenient because I don't have to have any of my monitors set up the animal stats. Did I mess up? What did I do wrong? Oh, I rolled a 1d0. Yeah, that's not what you roll for initiative.
Oh, no, please.
Okay. He is not fast. And little boarlets.
Warlets. Pork chops.
They're very skittish. They're very reactive. They're prepared. All right, so we're going to start off. I'll put this over here. We're going to start off with Zerg. First to react to see this boar coming charging up very aggressively towards you. And I will let you see so you can tell the initiative. The one that is called boar is the big boar. The rest of them are all the little ones.
How many are there? There's a big dice in my way.
If you click anywhere on the screen, the die will go away.
Ah, perfect. All right, cool.
But there are at least 3 small ones in there, plus the hulking one.
Okay, and there's a tree right here.
Yeah, that's a big fallen tree across this little muddy creek. So it goes down about 5 feet into that creek, and the area around it is slick and unsteady. It is going to be uneven ground, which is like difficult terrain, but you actually need an acrobatics check to even move through the muddy areas on the map here, because it looks like it's not going to hold you very easily.
But yes, there's a tree right next to you, yes.
Oh.
Right next to me is what I was looking at.
Oh,
yeah.
this tree. Yes, there is in fact a tree right next to you. I thought you meant this log down here.
Well, Zerg's too far away to actually do anything unless I move twice. How big is this fallen tree? How big are we talking here?
Well, the fallen tree there is stretching a good 30 feet across the creek, and the trunk is solid and girthy. It's probably at 7 feet around. It's a
Okay.
pretty large trunk with the roots kind of sprawled out and flattened on your end. It doesn't
So
look like
lifting
it's
probably
rotted.
not going to happen.
It's going to be incredibly heavy. Yeah, that's a probable no.
Okay. Zerg is going to move up next to Lizard Man. Just like we practiced, Lizard. And I would like to throw Lizard at the board. If I can.
Okay. You know,
Yeah, we practice this literally all the time.
Give me an
Zerg, part of the
athletics check.
job is notable.
give me an athletics check.
Oh,
Just like we practiced, Lizard.
oh, jeez. Oh,
26.
jeez.
You are you gonna let him?
Of
Lizard
course.
Man?
We practice
Then-
this all the time.
Yeah, as he comes up and grabs you, he is just gonna toss you 10 feet closer towards the boars.
Uh-huh.
Alrighty. Now you can see 2 actions to throw your buddy. You can see several of the smaller boars in here stirring around, reacting very quickly. But they are also small and babs and full of fear. And they are going to wait until the larger boar leads the way. Which means Lizard Man, you are up next.
Okay, I'm going to pull out my rope here, and I am going to get ready as soon as I see a boar running towards us. I'm going to get ready to hook my the end of my club around its feet to try and trip it up, so that we can pile in.
Okay. You want to ready an action to trip them.
Yeah,
Neat.
at a distance.
Solid. Okay, so, and just, I don't know if we've covered this on Extinction Curse yet. I don't remember, so if I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry. In 2nd edition, readying an action, you just use 2 actions to basically give yourself the 1 action that you want to do as a reaction. So now you have the ability to trip somebody as a reaction, basically at any point that you want until your next turn. It doesn't mess with your initiative anymore. It's a much simpler system. But it'll be 1 to pull out the rope and then 2 to ready that up.
Yep.
So, Arabus.
Knowing, the pack mentality, they follow the big guy's lead.
Ooh. Really good that we're on Zoom. Discord's like completely down. It just blew
Yeah,
up
I've
and threw up a
noticed it
bunch of
too.
stuff in front of me. Continue.
I am just gonna hold out my hand and start to cast a spell with my eyes closed, and I'm going to attempt to charm the big one.
Okay. What are you casting?
Charm.
Oh, it's just called that. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. So, nobody has threatened or used hostile actions against it yet. So it definitely does not get the bonus. Can you? Wow, that's an interesting little spell. It actually does. You're not actively attacking it yet, so it has no penalties for its current mindset. So it's just gonna make a will save. All right, Pigu, what's your will save? Not awful, actually. You're very bullheaded.
Huh.
But he is going to fail.
Ooh.
So as it gets ready to run up, you feel your magic kind of take hold of it. It still looks like it's charging up out of the creek towards you. Hey, you have 1 action left.
It's still charging, even though I feel the magic
Well,
take hold.
yes, its turn hasn't come around yet, so it can't react to this quite yet. But it looks like it's definitely still coming.
With the wild mentality, I am not going to move. I'm going to stand my ground.
All right, this piggy is also going to go ahead and wait for Daddy Pig to go, which brings us to Ara.
Okay. I saw Arbus do some sort of wooju, right?
Yeah, you started to cast some kind of a spell. It had no immediate visual effect. She just cast something clearly incanted. Magic happened.
Well, I asked Arbus, "What'd you do?" And I move over here and get ready.
And you can respond real quick, Arbus. You can
Yeah, thank you.
Try to make a friend.
Good enough for me.
All right. And so that's you're just gonna move over there and wait.
Yep.
Alrighty, Selwyn then.
I'm staying behind this tree. I'm holding until I'm waiting to see what the boars do.
All right. So this boar comes rushing up out of the embankment, charging straight towards Arbus with its head down, angrily just huffing and snorting. But as it gets about 10 feet away, it wheels around and just kind of circles a bit in place up on the top of the embankment here, and then turns and raises its head a bit, just huffing angrily towards Arbus as it keeps doing like little fake pseudo charges towards you, slamming its front hooves into the ground, clearly angry, but not actively attacking you. The rest of the tiny boars all kind of shuffle up out, one of them hopping excitedly up the embankment as well, but none of them really making much of a move. So you want to step in there, Someone?
Yeah, I'll move up to behind Gray and ask, can you tell them to fuck off? Just...
I think they're defending their territory.
Well, that's a problem. Can they get new territory? Is that something you can tell them? Find them some relocate the animals?
I can try.
All right, thumbs up.
Zerg.
Yes. Yes. How? Oh. Wait. How do I ping a spot? Can I
Hold and click
you
on
just
the card
click
you
and
want
hold.
to pick.
Yep.
click and hold?
Yep,
Yes.
just click and hold. Oh, you have to be on the select. You have to take off the
That
ruler
one.
input. There you go.
Yes.
So if I'm like there, am I in hitting distance of that boar?
Yeah, right in front of Lizard Man. Yeah, diagonal's melee. Adjacency, any melee is adjacent.
Beautiful. So I can move right up in front of the boar with one action, which is exactly what Zerg is going to do. In fact, I don't need to stride twice. It's just I don't even need to bother.
Can I use a
And-
reaction to like say something?
You can absolutely, like, if you want to say something quick in character during someone else's turn, you can definitely like yell something out.
Don't attack him. No.
Well, you bring a strongman along to. I got this new bandolier and.
I'm sorry.
What am I going to? There's a boar in front of me. You want me to not attack it?
And as you move towards it, it doesn't move back. In fact, it like inches a little further forward, now doing these little fake charges towards Zerg, just swinging its tusks up right in front of him, just like a couple of feet away, almost just dancing, kind of bouncing.
Zerg's gonna grab the tusks.
No.
All right, make me an athletics check.
27.
I didn't even see that die come through. Fair enough. Oh, there it
Oh,
is.
there it is.
Yep.
Wow.
So, 27. That's absolutely gonna succeed. So, with a 27, you grab the boar's tusks.
And I just turn around to Arbus. I'm not attacking it. What is the problem? He wants to hurt me.
He's defending his family.
Me too.
Aw.
Aw.
That's it.
Do you-
I'll
okay.
end while holding the tusks.
Lizard man.
Yeah, that's a good plan. I also walk forward and grab it around the middle.
No.
It's all gone awry.
No way, we aren't fighting it.
You can also grab it. That is a thing that you can do. It's not first edition. It can be grabbed by multiple people.
Yeah, don't
You
worry,
just
Albus.
also give it the grabbed condition.
Yeah. So athletics?
Yep.
14. It's got hooves all over the place.
Yeah, it's also pretty large. Like, this is a huge wild boar. And as it's now kicking and racking its head back and forth frantically, you can't. It's like muddy and slick. It's a literal muddy wild boar. You can't get a hold of it.
Well, I'm gonna try again, obviously.
Okay, -5.
Like, Doe's egg. It's time.
Would Zerg holding it not give it some kind of? It's already restrained in some way. Would that help with the lizard man's grab?
It is flat. It is flat-footed, but
Okay.
it is
Okay,
also
so
still a
-5.
huge wild boar. It's very
Yeah.
strong at a 14
Good
second
point.
speed.
Okay, so this -5. Oh, another 14 -5. So that's a 9.
With a 9, as you kind of double down, try to get this, it's gonna swing out wide away from you and then slam its rear into you, kicking out with its hind legs, knocking you prone. That's a critical failure.
Yikes. Yikes.
And that's also 3 actions, so Artemis.
Yeah.
Huh, man.
I'm sorry, Gray.
Just sort
Okay.
of panicking, looking around. I'm gonna call out to the boar. They are scared. We don't mean you or your family any harm. We just want to pass. That's all. I promise.
Alright, so he is friendly to you because of the charm spell, so you
Yeah.
can use diplomacy to make a request of him with your
Okay.
wild empathy. So give me a diplomacy check.
It's not listening.
It's very mad! It is incredibly mad. That is a critical failure.
Crap. Can I tell that I failed? Is that how?
I mean, you can tell, like, you can tell because it's a critical failure, not only does he not agree, he ceases being friendly to you.
I'll hear a point of that then.
Okay, yeah, critical failure decreases their attitude. So,
I'll definitely hear a point of that.
okay.
All right, so
Good
let's
hero point.
do better, please.
Do better.
15.
15 is certainly better, but given the situation, the boar's current condition, he's
With a +4. Oh no.
with a +4.
If he's charmed, it should be 4 higher, I think. So if your allies, unless
That's
you
a will
count
save. Yeah.
against.
Oh no,
that's
if he's being attacked, he gets a +4 against his save.
right.
Charm
okay.
does, it just makes him friendly, so you can make requests. So he, currently being grappled by 2 large things, is in no real mind to let down his guard. He, you can tell, is still fighting. He's still angry.
Just sort of now at a loss. I just don't know what to do with the rest of my go. I'm just sort of
So you're trying to plead with this boar as he's restrained. Ara.
Did it work? What's happening?
I'm just
You want to delay?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold back.
All right. The boar, enraged, is immediately going to try to break free of Zerg's grasp. What is your athletics DC? So 10 plus your athletics modifier.
18.
18. He's gonna succeed as his first action. He's gonna writhe his tusks free, and then he is going to attempt to just ram into you. Though he doesn't really have the space to muster up any real momentum other than just flinging his head forward, because he had to kind of commit a lot to yanking back away from you to wrench himself from your grasp. And as he swings, what's your AC?
19.
He's gonna just slam against your chainmail leotard and your rock hard abs. Not hard enough to do any real damage to you before he runs off. a ways down, getting some distance before he wheels back around towards the group and lowers his head. This does provoke from Lizardman if you want to attack.
I may be down, but I still have a weapon. Okay, cool. I'm actually just going to. As I fall down and he goes away, I'm gonna try and like leverage myself up by using his momentum, and I have sharp claws. So, that's a 16.
With a 16, he was no longer grappled when he ran away from you. So your claws kind of rake across his matted fur and his thick hide, drawing some blood, but similarly not really doing any significant damage to him. And at this point, all the tiny boars are just going to pile in and just start slapping the things that are in front of them, which largely is a prone lizardman. So, what's your AC, lizardman?
19.
All right, 19, and you are flat-footed. So, they are going to move up to you, and 2 of them are going to fail. One, because you're still on the ground armored and scaly, and they're much smaller, clearly juvenile boars. And they just kind of pummel you. It's unpleasant. But at the end of this general purpose beating, you've only actually taken 5 damage from the 3 of them.
Okay.
Before they just kind of scatter. One of them running a little further off towards the trees here. One of them running back towards the adult, and the other one also hopping over the log to fall back to the south as well. They just seem to largely be following the lead of the larger boar. Selwyn.
Ara, do you want to jump in during any of this?
Ara, you are delaying, so do you want to take your turn?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in now.
Okay, so then Ara, and then Selwyn.
How far away? Sweet. I'm gonna actually metamagic reach spell, produce flame on the big boar. So that adds 30 feet to the range, so 60 feet.
All right, so as negotiations seem to have kind of fallen apart here, a fireball flies off across the field. And with an 11, yeah, that's just going to kind of splash into the ground next to the boar as it runs away. I mean, the thing is fast. Once it gets going, it runs. It is quick. And that will bring us to Selwyn.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 squares.
You get the ruler, too, which does give you Pathfinder measurements on distance.
Where's the ruler?
Step in front of Lizardman as he's just being bullied on the ground.
Yeah, I want to cast Electric Arc, as I want to do, on the 2 tiny boars.
2 closest to you?
Yes.
Okie dokie.
Because they're within 30 feet.
They are both within 30 feet, yeah. This is reflex saves, right?
Yes.
What is your DC?
I believe it's 17. Let me double check for sure. Yes, 17.
All right, the first one nearest to you is going to critically succeed. The second one furthest from you is going to critically fail. So, 6 of one, half dozen the other, really?
Mm-hmm. So that one takes 6 damage.
12 damage from his critical failure. As all the electricity that the first boar does not receive courses through the second boar, just frying off a lot of its matted, muddy hair. And even searing away a large patch of its flesh. The thing stunned in place, twitching for a moment, almost falling over and completely losing its balance. Zerg.
Yes.
You would look down, Zig. You'd hear like a weird noise, and you'd see out of the little bag on my side pocket the last jar of honey that I'd been hiding crushed with a little boar hoofprint in it. And just honey just slowly oozing onto the ground.
No.
And the main boar's foot would be honey dripping down it.
I feel like you're trying to inspire a certain emotion in our comrade here.
There's a moment of awareness that occurs once 2 and 2 have been put together. And from across the field, Zerg makes what he thinks is eye contact with the boar. Well, that's not good for you. Every muscle flexes as he enters rage and charges full fucking spear at the boar. With every action that I've got.
And that is exact. It's 30 feet, so you got sudden charge. It's time.
I'm just gonna
So
power
this
slam
boar
this thing.
tries to gore you, slams into your chainmail, and runs away. And as it wheels around, it just sees you running after it. Full tilt.
I'm just gonna punch this thing in the head.
All right,
Just
so you
with all of my ape-man, orc-man, monkey fury.
give me the ape rage slam.
Bam. 17.
17 as you slam into the side of this thing as it wheels around. It stutters a bit trying to dance out of the way. It's not particularly fast, but it is incredibly large. And it manages to sidle to the side enough that you smack it. It scoots to the ground a few inches, but it's just not quite enough to do meaningful damage to something. So, okay.
Hell yeah.
Oh boy.
We got session. We'll do session reroll first, because those come back for free.
Yeah, I'll keep track of the ones we actually use.
21.
21 is a hit.
So base roll 9. Is that it? Do I get like any extra?
The base roll was
on that?
3. 9 is the total. It gives you the.
Right,
It,
gotcha.
Yeah,
it
that's
does
right.
all the math
Does
for
it for
you.
you?
Yep.
9.
Because if you highlight it, it shows you it's got 3, and then your strength modifier of 4, and then you're raging, so it's an extra 2. So yeah, it's
Sweet.
gonna be 9 damage total as you monkey slam this boar, and you see it stagger backwards, a bit injured, a few bones crunch, but it takes a lot more than that to bring a wild boar down. Lizard man.
I'm gonna be hot on Zerg's tail, like I scrambling up as I run, and I will also sudden charge in. I will move down here and just swipe again. Try and get it as it reels back. Go to 27.
27 just barely does not critically hit,
Oof.
but it
Okay.
will hit for max damage as your claws rend it for 10 points of slashing damage. And the two of you charging in together have done a massive number to this boar. Arabis.
You guys are wrong.
This is so bad.
Cast.
Me.
I am going to make a fist like this, and the grass beneath the boar is going to attempt to like grab his feet, and I'm going to cast some Tanglefoot.
Okay. So what does that require? Oh, it's a spell attack. Okay, so you do hit him with that normally.
Oh, okay, so I got to roll it. Attack.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. I was like, is it a save or is it a spell hit roll? Yeah, it's a hit roll.
I don't know why it's not in there. Okay, so I just.
Your spell attack modifier is probably 8.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just safely assume it's +8 at level 2.
Yeah, it is.
So if you need to just raw roll a d20, I'm sure there's somewhere on your character sheet you can also click spell attack roll, but I don't know where that would be.
17 to hit.
Oh, the one-offs in this fight!
Man.
You know that doesn't hit.
Okay.
So, as this reaches up, the boar having suffered these attacks, is just too strong and too furious to be held down by these vines. There's just one action left.
I'm going. All right, I'm gonna shout out to him one more time. Retreat and save your family's lives. Surrender.
And without any kind of a roll, you're 100% certain at this point that diplomacy is not going to prevent this boar from attacking. And in fact, as he wheels around and realizes everyone's so hot on his tail, the boar is going to wheel around and continue running. Running out away a little ways to the east, back behind this tree, before it's... Oh, yep, right.
And I would reach my claws to try and keep him there with a... sorry, I had this ready. Here we go. With a 26.
26 will hit! You'll rend him for 8 more damage. Blood and mud flying from the height of this thing as it runs away. It gets to a good distance and only seems to get angrier from the damage it's taking as it wheels around this tree here and then just charges back in full momentum, head down, to slam into Zerg. So what's your AC, Raging?
Raging? Does it
It's your AC -1.
Yeah, it should go down by 1.
Oh, 18.
18. As he gets this running charge towards you, this is Boar MO 101. This is his universe. This is how they attack. He can put all of his truly prodigious girth behind this strike. And he is going to critically hit you.
Great.
Much better at charging. And he is also very large. He is going to slam into you for 22 points of damage.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
But Zerg is a big boy, and he is also very mad, and that is not enough to bring Zerg down.
Did you put your temp health on, Mono?
Did I? No.
Oh, right. How much? So we're done technically 4. You get 4 temp health, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
5.
That sounds 5.
It's level plus point harm modifier.
Oh, it goes up by level. Okay, so you would take 17 of that functionally as he hits you, because pure anger tamps the blow pretty well, it turns out. The tiny boars sandwiched between the creek and the pair of you are just going to move up and start swinging wildly at Lizard Man. They don't seem to really understand the boar attack too much, and they're just hopping around, flailing, headbutting, going crazy. I mean, make no mistake, these juvenile boars are still pretty beefy. They're still well over 200 pounds each. These are still pretty meaty. They're just much smaller than Whole Hog over here. Lizard Man, what's your AC?
19.
19. Okie dokie. So here is the first swing from each of them. One of them is going to manage to successfully land a tusk blow with this first wave. The other is just kind of pounding against you. He's going to hit you for 9. Again, they're still pretty large. And second set of tusks from each of them are both going to fail. They can't really successfully mount an attack over a long period of time. And again, boars aren't good at this. They're just pouncing at you and headbutting aggressively. They're strong, but they're only so good. And then one of them started in melee range and gets to swing a third time, which is also going to fail. So they're going to pound you a lot. But as these 2 boars go into you, you take a total of 9 damage. The last of the boars, not entirely positive what's going on. From where he is also just going to rush into this fight. And he's going to rush up to Zerg as well. So you are at 18 right now? Zerg, 18 AC?
18 AC, yeah.
Bloody muted. Sorry. Yeah, 18.
Tiny Pig is going to hit you as well. But he is only going to connect for 5 damage. He is significantly smaller and less meaty than the large boar. And then again, as he doesn't really understand the process here, he's just going to kind of swing at you one more time. Just continuing to try to headbutt and gore you in close range, entirely ineffective. So, that's all the pigs. Ara.
I run myself forward and put myself in front of Arbus. And then I'm going to cast Heal as a 2-action spell on Zerg. So I clap my hands together and say, hopefully this fire helps, and forget how to function roll 20.
Feel a warm tingling sensation up your body,
And
Zerg.
it looks like me. It looks exactly the same as casting Produce Flame. So
A little flaming ball of healing fire.
but it heals you for 14.
That's a pretty good heal. All right, Selwyn.
Excellent.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, good old mute.
good old mute buttons.
Well, I'm gonna try to strike from the shadows, come over here, and hopefully take down the big boar.
And it is not looking at you at all. It's completely turned away.
That's why I'm striking from below. I am struggling today. I'm very sorry.
It's all good. Real 20 is a little chunk in too. I think all of these sites are under a lot more stress than they usually are
Yeah.
on account of that
First
whole
attack is a 14.
quarantine
And
thing.
I'm gonna use one of my spare hero points for this because
Okay.
I have a lot, and if I go down, lose them all. Don't want
Yeah,
that
if you
happening.
got to use them to stabilize, you'll lose the
Yeah.
whole pot.
A 19, and it is flat-footed.
19 is absolutely going to hit its flat-footed AC.
And I also get a sneak attack. I'm not sure if it's
Oh my.
You just rolled max
hit
on your D6.
for- yeah. Yep. Yeah,
So-
I did. 16 damage.
As you skewer this boar with your short sword, and you draw it out, having run the thing through, clearly that's going to be enough to bring it down. Yet somehow it isn't. The boar seems to be so angry that it's continuing to fight through what must be lethal wounds. It's almost as if it hasn't realized it's dead yet, and it's not slowing down at all.
All right. Well, Clara almost did the job. Let's see if... No, Clara isn't even here. It's Kevin this time. Let's see if
It's Kevin.
Cecil
Right?
can do it.
Clara's getting fixed up in the shop.
Clara's getting fixed up. Oh, that is not good.
Oof,
That is a
that's the
critical fail.
backswing of the previous roll, where everything
boy.
was sixes. A nat 1 and a 1 on damage, even if that had gone through.
Can I
Uh,
use 2 hero points a turn?
You certainly can if you want to.
Fuck it,
There's
let's
no
go
law
to
that
the
says you
limit.
can't.
Yep. Fair. I'm going to. Let's just use it all. Let's waste it all.
You see what this board
25,
can do, and you
so-
don't want the board to
yeah.
go again.
So that's 4 lower. And
21
21.
is certainly going to connect. And that also gets your sneak attack.
Yes, it does.
But the amount that comes out of that is largely irrelevant, because with this second strike, the board is going to realize that it's dead. The amount of physical trauma it's taken has overcome its inability to care. And as it goes to continue its assault against Zerg, it's just going to slam into the ground like the massive hunk of meat it is and just fall over. Zerg.
Zodic feeling much better after a little heals. So there's one right behind me, little one right
Yeah,
behind
little
me.
boy right next to you, and then 2 right on the other side of Lizard Man that you could step over to be in range of. But you got a boy right here.
I'm gonna grab onto the tusk of the now dead big boar and attempt to rip it out of its skull.
Okay,
I'm angry. I'm angry.
sure. Give me
He's
an
very
athletics
upset.
check. It's pretty solidly attached to the dead boar.
18.
Zerg hears you. Zerg don't care. Zerg got primal raging strength. You don't so much unseat it from the jaw as you do just with a sickening crunch snap it out of the boar's mouth. And you've now got this big old tusk probably about 6-8 inches in your hands.
And I'm going to attempt to plunge it into the head of the boar next to me.
Okay. I guess.
What do you
just
want?
Make me your normal raging. Just give me the same attack roll regardless, because which weapon you're using isn't going to change what you're rolling to hit. So you can go ahead and roll your rage and monkey fist if you want.
18.
18 is definitely going to connect and we'll start with your raging monkey damage and see where that puts us. Because you are still raging monkey slamming this thing.
Yeah.
10
That's a
damage
10.
on the smaller one with the tusk you're wielding in your hand. You just smash the tusk down through the head of this smaller boar. Take it, rip it out of dead, and jam it into sun.
And that leaves me with another move?
It similarly seems to just be either too confused or too angry to go down quite so easily. Does leave you one action left.
Again!
All right.
I'm angry! 18 again!
Oh no!
But that is -5 because it was your second swing. So
shit.
it is a 13,
Okay.
which is you just raging, swing it down and pound it into the ground right next to him. Lizard man.
I'll grab its tusk and hold the head in place and move it into range for Lizard Man to come down while he's swinging just wildly, trying to get the last hit on that boar. So I guess it would just be an
So you wanna
check.
Yeah, you wanted to grab it? Because
Yeah,
grabbing
is there any way I could? Well, I guess it's more thematically.
you
I guess
could
I
if you
just-
want you could aid him. It's 2 actions, and basically when next time he rolls an attack, you as a reaction would also roll an attack, and if you hit AC 20, you'd give +2 to his attack.
I'm not too worried about him being able to attack. I was just like kind of flavoring it with like, it's fine. I'll just kind of reach over and just kind of just knock it out and do a hit, try and get it to stay down.
And with a 22, you will knock out the largest of the juvenile boars here, leaving you with 2
And
actions
then-
left.
And then I turn around as I'm doing that, the one directly opposite of it, this one down here. I'm going to try and get that one and try and kill it. Also,
The one that's already
minus-
been very singed.
Yeah, so this one -5. 16 -5 is 11. Probably that.
11
then
is not
I'll-
going to hit now.
And then I'll kind of get my wooden shield here and try and kind of brace against these, like, things trying to run us over.
All right. Arbus.
Okay. I'm gonna look at Ara, who just sort of stepped in front of me and did his magic fireball deal. Just give him a real, like, shitty look. And then I'm gonna step to the side next to him, stare him right in the face as I touch the ground, and then some lightning's gonna course up Zerg's leg, and it's gonna be like, you know how when your foot goes to sleep and it feels like needles and stuff? It's real tingly and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do as I cast heal into Zerg with my elemental.
Fuck you, I'm the healer.
Wow, that struck a nerve.
D8 plus 8.
14.
Also 14. Well,
Evenly
Zerg's
matched.
feeling great.
Feeling pretty good.
So the more injured of the tiny boars at this point is going to run the hell away. And he is going to attempt to just leap across the creek entirely, make it to the other side, and just sprint away from this. Fun fact, he is going to fail to jump the creek.
Oh no.
His legs, little pig legs, are going to slip. He's going to slam down into the creek. And this provokes from Lizard Man, if you want to take it.
I think I might just save it for blocking.
Okay. And then he is going to scramble up the other embankment and run 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's as far as he can get after he failed this. You can also see a wide assortment of at least a half dozen other smaller pigs fan out from under this log, just bolting. off in all directions out to the west, away from this. Hogs that would have been too small to be a realistic threat to you. Some just a little smaller than the ones that had come out to attack, but apparently a little more skittish. Now all scattering out into the wilds away from the orchard. The other one that's right next to Lizard Man, though, is just going to continue headbutting you. Seriously unclear on what tusks are for. And just keep trying to gore you through. So you got your shield up now. What's your AC at?
21.
He's going to slam against your shield with the first swing, but then use that force, a surprising amount of muscle, to kind of take you off balance a little bit. Not intentionally, it's just what ends up happening. And then he's going to catch you with the second one.
Okay, and then I'll shield block with that one. I'll kind of lean with the hit and use my shield to absorb some of the damage.
All right, and it is going to hit you for 4. What's your shield's hardness?
I don't know. I'd have to look. You know what I'm saying?
I think
Pretty sure it's
5.
2.
I think
Is
it's
it 2? Oh,
3.
wow.
It's a wooden
3.
shield, so I think it's 2 or 3,
3.
Yeah.
regardless. Okay,
Mine's
so 3. You take 1 point of damage, and your shield takes 1 point of damage.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was 4. Outside of that, I was like, wow, that was a big hit.
No, 4 was the total.
Okay.
And then he's going to completely uselessly flail against you, continuing to try to hit, doing a grand total of 1 point of damage to you in your wooden shield. As you're able to hold him off spectacularly well, Ara.
So that boar in front of Zerg, is it dead? Yeah.
The
That's dead,
large one, the one in front of Zerg, look very dead, yes.
All right.
They didn't dig being dead at first, but we convinced them.
It's a pretty cool thing to be.
Hmm.
I'm going to sling an elemental toss at this other small one then. See where
Okay.
that lands me. I'm going to use my session reroll.
Oh my!
Okay. Let's get them all out. Get them all.
Oh
It got worse. It was a 4 on the die to a 3 on the die. Yeah, and your handful of fire just gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
Elemental toss does have the attack trait, so your produce flame is gonna be at a -5.
Yes.
So you just shovel buckets of fire that land all around and over this little hog, maybe singeing a bit of its hair, but not landing solidly enough to catch the thing. But all just like a fountain of fire, just flinging fireballs back here over towards this one remaining hog. Selwyn.
I don't think I can get in range of the fleeing boar, sadly. So, normal move. And, Stabbo the Boro. And there's this sneak attack short sword.
While this fiesta's happening, Selwyn is methodically moving around the battlefield.
26.
A 26 is going to critically hit.
Alright, so that is for a total of 18 damage.
And just once again, what should be lethal wounds staunched by just
Oh, for
pure
fuck's
blind
sake.
rage. Just die,
Well,
you damn pig. Come on.
Please just go down. Could you? I don't know. Just not.
Hogs are sturdy.
23, which is with, 19 after
Alright,
the -4.
what do you do?
Well, I run up to this boar, slide under it while I'm moving, and basically like, cut its gut open, and it's still standing as I come to the other side, and I leap up onto it and thrust the other short sword into its head.
I mean, this thing is at least as big as you are, so it gives you plenty of space to do cool stuff. And unless anyone wants to take their turn to attempt to chase down some of these final hogs before they escape, they're very clearly fleeing off out of the orchard now. But that did still leave Arbus and Zerg's turns if you want to try to run them down. It's up to you if you are still raging, Zerg, because whether or not you can still perceive a foe is a pretty loose condition.
Zerg, with the last of his angry energy, would like to take the honeyed leg of the dead boar and rip that out as well.
So you start just wrenching on this door for the sin of crushing a honey pod. Yeah, give me another athletics check.
23.
Oh my god!
Wow.
All right, the 23 hulking ape strength appears to be enough to straight up just snap the leg bone, just break it at the hip, wrench on this a couple of times with both hands, kind of plant a foot on the body of the boar, and literally rip it free from this dead body.
Let that be a lesson to anybody who wastes perfectly good honey. And I'm just gonna take a couple licks off this.
Yeah. I'd slowly walk over, dragging my feet, and then fall to my knees as I look at the honey and the broken pot on the ground and slowly trace my claws through the honey.
I mean, as I see Zerg just completely lose his mind and freak out, I'm gonna take out my jar of honey, which probably just got a little bit left in it that I was sampling on, and just sort of, I'll just walk up to him as he's freaking out and just sort of hold it up to him. Go.
You keep it, I've got plenty.
Licking it off a raw leg.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hairy, muddy, like, it's full of ticks and little insects clinging on. Zerg hears you, Zerg don't care.
Honey's
It's
a
not nice to talk
disinfectant.
about Zerg like that.
Oh. So, with that, with the defeat of these boars, at least having killed the largest of them, and then the next couple, and seemingly run the rest out of the orchard, back into the wild, Jasteron, with his tip, moved by your plight, Mono, has given another hero point to Zerg. Oh, as just now, so has Mika Rems with 500 bits. Zerg, you get 2 hero points.
Jeez.
Does that make 3 total, or did I use?
You use the session reroll, which you get one of those every, like, basically first one's free every week. And then if you want to use more, you draw from your well of hero points that chat has given to you. But if you go down and use them to prevent death, it costs as many as you have. It takes all of them. But otherwise, you can hoard them to your heart's content until you have to use them to avert death. So it's a risk hanging on to these. They could all be gone in one moment. But with that, as he's licking this honeyed leg, Arvis sitting there with a whole hot lizard man. I don't know if he has tear ducts. Mourning the loss of the last of his pots. I think it is time now, friends, for us to take our midstream break. Thanks to all of you hanging out, especially everyone yeeting out the hero points for everyone. I know Duralpa Bear, it's technically a limited 3, but since chat's giving them out, not me. I'm not gonna tell you no. Someone's gonna spend 500 bits to give Zerg a hero point. No, he's already at 3. So you can have as many as you want. You just run that risk of having to spend them all should you have to stabilize yourself. Thanks to all of you guys. Thank you to all of our partners here. Sirenscape with some fantastic hog noises for that one. Every now and then we get the exceptionally fantastic standout sound set, but I do love them all. Paizo for the host. Archives and Nethys was hanging out in the chat, actually. It's a good day to be indoors watching other people play Pathfinder on the internet alone from their own separate homes, not coming together. And holy crap, before we jet here, Arcadis, a massive tip to the party, $20. One for each party member who isn't Zerg, because the man has enough points to rip several more limbs off mid-combat.
Nice.
Arcadis
Fair.
was around for the rest of the table to get you all caught up. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, guys. Stay tuned. This fiesta isn't going anywhere. Alrighty, welcome back, everybody, to what is definitely turning out to be a freaking adventure here. What an actual fiesta. I love it. You guys are doing justice to the fact that this is an actual circus. This is just straight up a circus.
This party's
Arcadis,
a mess.
not content with that huge tip, gonna throw out a gift sub to Archives and Nethys.
Ooh.
Welcome to the party. Hope you're enjoying this. A bunch of idiots trying to fight some pigs. And Demon Wolf, thank you for the resub as well. Thanks to everybody who's resubbing throughout the show, of course. At the moment, I'm slowly, I feel like, shifting off of this. But I know I don't shout out any of your resubscriptions or new subs or any of that while we're playing Pathfinder, because I don't want to draw too far out of what we're doing, just because it's a kind of get into it and role play sort of thing. I mean, I'm slowly getting there. It's not. I hate it because I don't want people to feel like I don't appreciate or don't see their resubs, because I definitely do. I have my taker up and everything. I see each and every one of you coming through, and I super appreciate it. I just don't stop like I would on my personal streams to shout them out while we got stuff going on, because I don't want to interrupt Lizard Man's honey sadness or whatever greatness we have going on for all the resubs, because I know there are a lot of other tabletop streams that do that, and when I watch them, even like as a viewer, it's hugely distracting. And I
It
don't
you
even,
out of it.
It does. I don't even like watching that happen. I'm aware that there's a middle ground here between ignoring all of you for 4 hours while we play Pathfinder and running at like a regular screen where giant tentacles show up on the screen with a huge notifier and everything. Like, I've turned notifiers back on. They're quieter, they're subtler. I shout out you guys who are adding hero points because that affects gameplay, and I give you that. But I'm working towards the middle ground here. So don't think I don't love you for your support and being here and just putting up with whatever it is that we're doing. Don't worry about it if you interrupted.
Like right after the break or right before the break. Like
Yeah.
just go down a quick list.
That's true. I could literally just go down a whole list of everybody who's subscribed while we've been doing this. There's a bunch of people, but I can do it because we had Optimistic Weasel at the very beginning. Hexiwoo got thrown a hat by us saying 221.
Weasel.
Pale Scythe put a hat back on Squidbat, and also gave one to Miko Rems, who was cheered 500 bits twice for hero points. So super earned that sub. Thank you, Pale Scythe, for handing that out. Why are you tickling me?
You're calling out names.
But are we gonna do this in Pathfinder too? Go sit down. We gotta get
Choke
into
him
play.
unconscious, please.
Yeah. If the GM's
Arcadis.
unconscious for 15 minutes or more, we can level up.
Arcadis also resubbed for 71 months in a row. You're real close to that 6 years, my dude. That's a real long time. Thank you so much. But like I said at the beginning, while waiting for Mala to come back, I got some time to talk to you guys. We got time to interact, shout out subs, all this support. Make sure you guys are acknowledged, because I really don't like ignoring them. But any input, any comments, criticism, concerns for any facets of this show, absolutely let me know. It's always a work in progress. I'm always working to improve. Those of you who have been with my older streams, you know, even War for the Crown recently, but even before that, especially before that, Strange Aeons,
Minori.
Skull and freaking Shackles. We have come a long way on our streaming Pathfinder journey from the sad dumpster that was our first few shows when none of us knew what we were doing and we didn't have any
Fabio
overlays.
Manfield.
We had Fabio
and
Manfield.
Armstrong, the strength part.
Yeah, our understanding of role playing was that every now and then we had an idea for a funny meme and we said that, and otherwise we just kind of rolled dice at each other. It's been some serious progress. We've been doing Pathfinder here for years, but it hasn't been until honestly quite recently that I feel like we've really leaned hard into it.
I think
And
it's
I've
the
started-
ransom.
The Geothermal Society of Structural Damages.
I had some A+ quotes in that campaign.
There were, yeah, you hit some high notes in Dragon's Demand, admittedly.
And I'm glad that people have forgotten the low notes, like me forgetting puns in the start of combat. I couldn't come up with anything, so I just did sad
Oh,
shuffles.
the ultimate shame, right? Where you were a bard and your performance, your inspired courage was puns that made everyone
Yeah.
so mad they fought better, and you're just like, I don't know, I can't think of anything.
No,
And just
yeah.
like,
Yep, the sad shuffle.
I don't know, +1. We've all come so far, Zindern. Where's Mono?
Mono's
I
doing
suppose-
his best, I'm sure.
I suppose we could go back in. I kinda wanted Mono coming down from Rage, but we can get that. We do have a. I mean, we can start back in. I'm sure I'll be back in a minute. I know we gotta take a little bit of a longer break. So he's gotta take a smoke break, which may actually be worse now because I know from his stream that given this whole quarantine thing, he has had difficulty refilling his stash,
Oh,
and it
no.
may actually just be a pure raging frustration break with inability to smoke. But I'll be back in a minute. Let's go back in here. So, as all the boars scatter, and the orchard largely falls quiet, save for, the normal sounds, nature, birds around, Aberton way off in the distance. If you were to resume your previous tasks, because no one's really injured, actually. You guys did a fantastic job
Yeah.
there. Zerg was, but then he
Oh,
got
yeah.
all of the healing magic a second level party can muster pumped into him simultaneously.
Lisa was
Everyone's
hurt,
pretty
right?
fine. I assume
Yeah,
at
I'm
some
okay.
point. None of you were like terribly hurt. Am I wrong? Are you more hurt than I thought you were?
I'm like kind of hurt, but nothing terrible. Like,
I mean, we could spend 10 minutes just
Yeah,
catching
I
up.
could treat the lizard.
okay, sure.
Oh wow, yeah, you were a lot more hurt than I thought you were. I'm wrong. I lied. I'm sorry. Lizard has taken some hits. It was a bunch of little hits that kind of added up.
Yeah.
So as Arbus sits down to treat Lizard Man,
I'll
Aura's-
pull out my healing kit and heal myself. If at first you don't succeed, try again or give up.
Aura's idle curiosity, I'm sure at some point, would lead to you recasting the tech magic again, because that seems to be a source of joy in your life, Tiny Potato.
Yes. Very big joy.
And you would register magic here closer to the boar's den.
I'm gonna wander over to the boar's den, completely oblivious to any danger that may be lurking inside the boar's den.
So as the rest of you see Aura kind of climb down into this irrigation trench down to where all the hogs had come from. If nobody's doing anything, Aura, maybe a perception check. We'll just let the baby potato. This is how you learn. If we intervene, he doesn't learn anything.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
Do I? No one's gonna stop me. This is great. Is there
Yeah,
anything in?
What? He's just
I said give me a-
walking into a trench.
Oh, did my
It's not
voice
like-
die again? I said give me a perception check. I don't know
No, I heard that.
if Zoom
Yeah.
pooped out again.
No, I pooped out. My focus went very, very far away.
You're just so excited the prospect of exploring this den.
As with Ara.
Yep.
12.
With a 12, as you dig around down there under the log, you sort of look around. You don't see anything. There are some little bits of carcass, because hogs will eat basically anything. So rather than what would have been picked over by crows or cats, it's not a skeleton. It's just literally the part they haven't gotten to munching yet, because they eat the bones and all. There wouldn't be much down here other than a really, really rancid stench where they just piled up here under this fallen log, and there were a bunch of these boys down here in a fairly confined space. Nothing that you could even imagine would be magical, though.
I cast detect magic again.
I mean, it's still active.
Yeah.
It's still pinging.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep looking then.
All right, so
Just
as
root-
you just sort of spend your 10 minutes rooting around under there, and you don't have read aura, so you can't like narrow it down at all. You just know there is
Nope.
magic somewhere within 30 feet. It's not even necessarily under this log. It's just somewhere. Arabis is going to treat the lizard man. Give me your nature check once more.
Should I also make mine?
Oh, that's
You
that's
make
an
yours
11.
as well, Selwyn.
Yep.
11's going to fail.
Damn it.
14's also going to fail. Selwyn's, Arbus, you're really not familiar with, large scaly people. Your traditional methods of splinting and binding up wounds isn't really going to work because you can't just adhere gauze or cloth on the outside of the wound because it's not actually going to sit on the wound. The point of that is it compresses and holds, but he's got a whole layer of scales outside of that, and you do your best, but other than almost literally slapping some mud in it, it's hard to treat him. Selwyn just has no idea what she's doing. Zerg, what are you up to during this 10-minute rest here?
I'm admiring my new tusk.
It is a very nice tusk. And you have a down one tusk, down one leg, very nice boar, still just oozing blood out into the grass around it, where it's been horribly maimed.
This is
Use
pretty
that boar for
good.
meat.
So,
Could use it.
someone actually fails because it hasn't been an hour since you tried to treat yourself last time, so
Oh, okay. Well,
you don't even qualify, so you super failed.
Yep.
After 10 minutes, Selwyn realizing that she still knows nothing she can do to fix herself, and Arbus realizing there isn't much she can do other than kind of ease his pain and make him bleed a little less for Lizard Man. Ara, you haven't found anything. But you know there's something, because the magic says there is.
I clamber out of the den, covered probably from torso down in mud and whatever else was down there.
It's a 50-50 mix at this point in the hog den.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Not a good place, no.
I'm glad I can't smell. I don't have a nose to smell with.
Oh, a solid advantage. You don't get hit with a wall of putrid stink.
Oh.
You don't get whole hog ass. You get to avoid the worst of this.
Yes, I walk over to Arbus. Summer, there's magic around here somewhere and I can't find it. I looked everywhere.
Magic in the cave?
Magic somewhere. I'm guessing so. That's where the magic says the magic is. And where the magic says the magic is, that's where the magic is.
But if it says where it is, then shouldn't it be there?
Yeah, it should.
Maybe I'll help you find the magic.
Yes, that'd be good.
We could team up.
So,
See, I
Arbus,
can read the aura. I
you
think.
head down with your more precise detection means trying to find the source of this. And why don't you make me a perception check?
Okay.
Not so much a cave it's just kind of a log that's collapsed over this whole thing.
10.
You guys are bad at this. So you come down with Read Aura. You don't pick up anything because you're reading the enchantments of individual areas or objects, and you don't see any sign of magic down here at all.
You said the magic was over here?
It's definitely here.
No. I don't think so. Maybe further into the cave.
Again, not a cave, just kind of a 5-foot deep creek running under a log. There's no cave here.
Like, she doesn't know what a cave actually is. She just uses that word.
But neither of you are able to find anything. So, the rest of the party, you see these two just kind of rooting around under the log. And Arbus, you would definitely get hit with the wall of whole hog stank. That probably bothers you less than it would most people.
Yeah.
Stupid looking log. I bet we could move that log, Zig.
Absolutely.
I'll go climb across the other side and see. You get that side. I'll go the other side.
We
It was
got
amazing.
this.
So
You
I'm
guys
trying, I guess.
want to try
move
to
it,
lift
roll it.
up the,
Well, we
30-foot
can roll
log.
it.
That's fair.
We'll roll it.
All right,
We'll roll it,
why don't you
know.
just go ahead and give me an athletics check? You want to flex? Let's see you flex. Roll some dice.
17.
17's a pretty okay flex. Zerg, you think you can outflex this?
15.
It smells bad. God, it smells bad over
Well,
here.
still, the two of you
It's
together,
disgusting. It's gross.
the two of you together are certainly going to be able to move the log itself. It's set up kind of atop of the creek, with one end of it mashed down onto the side, ramped up to where the roots are splayed on the embankment on the east nearest to you. So as you roll this thing aside, Ara and Arabis down to the trench see it roll off of the very dead, very flattened figure of what appears to be a gnome, mashed into the dirt against the western embankment underneath the log.
Oh my god.
I walk over to it, pick it up.
You pick up the body of a gnome?
Yes.
I-
Pick
It
through
weighs more than you. Okay, pick through
Everything
it.
weighs more than me.
So you pick through it. He's wearing a fairly simple traveling cloak and some standard, like a standard commoner's outfit. Simple twine and burlap. No real sign of where he's come from. The vast majority of one of his legs and the entirety of one of his arms and even part of the shoulder is missing completely, where it looks like it's been chomped away by some not very sharp teeth. That would have been extruding out from underneath the log. So it appears the boars kind of ate down until they couldn't reach any further and sort of lost interest. But he does have a coin purse, and it does have 12 gold, 3 silver in it.
Woo!
His loss is our gain. And also packed behind it in a small, slim wooden case is a piece of parchment. Rolled up,
how much gold?
finely
Sorry?
protected. 12 gold, 3 silver.
Alright.
And a fine piece of parchment rolled up in this little wooden case.
I walk the gold over to someone. Hold up my hand. Hold it out in front of her,
I'll snatch it.
and I take the scroll in the case and say, "Oh, look, this looks interesting."
So as you open it up, it's covered in what you would be able to easily identify as primal runes. This is a scroll of a primal spell, but not one that you immediately recognize. Why don't you, Twig Boy, make me a nature check?
Twig boy? Did you just call me a twig boy?
Would you prefer Potato Face?
Both are horribly offensive, but I like potato face.
Your face does in fact look like a potato.
Solid. I'm sorry, I say unfamiliar to you. You know exactly what this scroll is.
I know magic.
You know magic, clearly. But seriously, looking it over, it's an interesting evocation. The runes are printed in a fine ink that emits a dull reddish glow to your magic detection as you look it over, and this is clearly the source of the magic itself. This is a primal evocation, and a particularly powerful primal evocation at that. If you activate this, 2 actions, it is going to launch a blast of sudden wind, rippling out from a point you designate into a 20-foot explosion in all directions. This is an incredibly powerful wind, which would easily knock any of you prone were you not ready for it and prepared to hold.
It's a gift from the Storm Lord.
Yeah, I do convey everything out loud as I'm figuring it out, because
So, how did primal druids and primal sorcerers all different, but a primal druid, so Arbus,
Mhm.
I'm not totally familiar. Are you like a cleric? Do you know your entire spell list and you just pick things to prepare each morning, or do you have like a spell book like a wizard?
I have a whole spell list that I prep every day. So I technically know all of them. I just pick and choose which ones I want.
Okay, so it's like a cleric.
Mm-hmm.
So this spell on this scroll is something new to you. This is something you don't know. This is new magic. But now with this at hand, if you hang on to it, you're pretty sure this is magic you could learn, even though it is far beyond you right now.
Yeah, let's hang on to this.
This
I'd give
is our first glance at kind of a new Pathfinder mechanic here. A couple of you butted heads with it in character creation, but what you have found here is a scroll of an uncommon spell, which now means that you have access to it. You can use this scroll to learn that spell. It can be, if you hang on to it and take the time to study it, it could be one of your spells that you prepare, like it were common, because finding this scroll now makes it available to you. Pathfinder 2nd Edition's got a whole rarity system that breaks down things that aren't just immediately accessible to players, and this scroll is a spell that is one of them. So there you go. Neat thing. Otherwise, though, the gnome doesn't appear to have anything else of real interest on him, unfortunately.
I have no need for it. I can't learn spells. I just know 'em.
I'll just pull out a flower out of my hair and just trade it to him for the scroll.
Evens. I just put it right here.
I would also say, since you have this scroll now, sorcerers are a little weird. If you want to learn this as one of your spells later, we can figure out if there's a way we want to do that.
The way it works is I can learn it like anyone else. It just gets added to the spell list of spells that I can possibly take
Okay,
when I
so
exchange spells out.
yeah, so basically one of you could learn from this scroll,
But
or
the
you
funny
can
thing
just
is,
cast it like a scroll.
the funny thing is, if she learns it, then I can take the time to learn it from her.
Yep, that is true. You can share it with each other. Maybe one of you can learn it directly from the scroll.
Yes.
I just wanted to shout out that it is an uncommon spell, so that is something that will not easily be found again. It's basically Fireball, but instead of fire, it's knockdown.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, 20-foot burst of wind knocks everyone over. And
That's what I should call it, knockdown.
call it Unreasonable Squall so I can remember what it is at a later occasion.
Gotcha.
Because that's what it's actually called. If you want to just...
rename the spell? Sorry, can we rename the spell?
I mean, you could call it whatever you want, but if you want to somewhere write down that it's a scroll of Unseasonable Squall is what it is, so that I can find it later.
All right, I'll write it on the party. Let's you don't you worry.
I have it on my person.
So, once again, you've come to an area where there's been this problem. You've come to where the sideshow had told you they'd seen these boars that had been attacking people in the streets, these overly aggressive boars that have been plaguing the southern end of Aberton. You've taken care of them, but you're really no closer to finding any kind of a root of all this. And this isn't even one of the areas that's circled on Arion's map. There's no notation here. It's possible.
Sorry, can we oh, go on.
I was saying, it's possible this is just a coincidence. Wild boars are already very aggressive. It's difficult to quickly tell.
Can we learn who the gnome is at all? Do we know is that like the
Well,
gnome's
he's
local?
very flat, and he's been very smashed, and none of you are really from Aberton. It would not be anyone you have met, as he has unfortunately been dead here for some days. If you want to roll me, Society is the new knowledge local. If you if you like knock out of the park in a Society.
That is the 8. I have no
did
fucking
not
clue.
You did not do that.
He's a dead gnome.
It is not anyone you'd recognize from town immediately. But the way he's dressed and kitted and where he is, it's reasonable. He's just a citizen of Aberton that ran afoul of these boars.
Right.
But that
We
does...
should take the body back so he can be buried.
Yeah, I think we could eat the boar really easily.
Yeah, I could eat. It could be good.
Yeah. I'll get the body. Don't worry.
All right.
I'll go pick up the body of the boar.
Don't eat the...
Okay.
Wait, that wrong body.
Wait.
So, that's a little bit of a tough one there, as this boar is several hundred pounds.
I bet you can lift this. I bet you can't lift this boar over here, Zig. Look how big it is.
For reference, as this is actually noted in the bestiary, a full adult boar's carcass provides enough meat for 100 or more meals. Like, he's a big boy. He's medium sized. He's in the size category above Selwyn and Ara. He's in the same size category as the rest of you. This is a massive wild boar.
He's probably
How
pushing that
many
too.
sizes larger than Zerg would this thing be?
That's the same size category as you. That's what I'm saying.
well,
It's
then
the
that's-
same size classification as a person. in size, but it's much denser, thicker, and
Whoa.
heavier.
What do you mean, person?
He's a human.
You know what I was referring to.
I'd say it's around 300 pounds. This thing's probably, well, I don't know a good bulk reference. I don't know bulk weights in 2nd edition quite yet. I'm going to say it's like,
Just rolled athletics.
well, it's less than athletics and it's more how much can you carry. I'm going to say it's probably about 6 bulk.
Okay.
I mean, if you need help.
Could
I mean,
Lizard
I
Man
got-
and Zerg lift it together?
Yeah. Yeah, about 300 pounds. I'd say you guys could lift it together. You could quite possibly deadlift it if you could get your grip on it. You just couldn't carry it realistically. The two of you together could pick it up and.
Or you can
very-
hold its one back leg, and I can hold its one tusk. But the two of us, we can just carry it right along.
If it's
Definitely
if
the
it's
most efficient way to haul it.
if it's 300 pounds, it's approximately 40 bulk.
40 bulk. I was way off. Okay. Is
And
that
one bulk is 5 to 10 pounds.
wow? All right, it's 40 bulk. So
Okay,
the
maybe
two of
not.
you together could drag it through town,
We can drag it.
but
We
it's
need
gonna.
food, man.
If you want to drag it back to the circus, this is an effort of a couple of hours, maybe.
We can walk fast.
We
Very
could sell
solid.
it and feed a lot of people.
Yeah. Good meat, man.
We could feed lots of people, or we could feed us. I'm very
I
hungry.
feel like it could feed us.
This is very large.
You're gonna have someone to cook it too, right?
Oh, that's right. We should share it with the cook.
I
All
could-
right, all right.
Well, these are in fact choices that you can make. It's Pathfinder. This is a tabletop role-playing game, and I can't stop you. I don't have that power. So you are going to drag it back to the campground, which, as a reminder, is half a mile from here.
Okay, I can't be bothered. I'm tired.
You
we
can
smart
do
to get
it. It's
You
going
should
to
do
take
this.
you several hours to drag this carcass a half mile through the streets of Everton.
You should
Hey,
do
Lizard
it.
Man,
Imagine the
Cut
notoriety
it in
we'll
half.
get.
What if we just borrowed a wagon from a villager?
Shut the fuck
You
up,
also-
leave.
I guess I could go steal a cart. Yeah, where are the carts? Do you see any carts
Don't-
around here?
You guys
Still.
have carts at the campground. You have a cart.
Yeah, I
The
guess I
two
could
of you
carry the...
share a cart for your things. Lizard
Yeah,
Man
that's
and
right.
Zerg.
That one's pulled by a horse, though, or something.
It is pulled by
That's a big
horse.
cart.
I don't. You would probably have some hand carts that the rest of us
Yeah,
use.
probably somewhere around. Yeah, probably a wheelbarrow for like all the horse manure.
It's almost certainly wheelbarrows.
Is that big enough for the boar?
Probably.
You
Probably.
can fit a lot of things in the wheelbarrow.
Yeah. So do you want me to like drag that flattened body out of there?
We go back and get cart. Bring back
Yeah,
here.
you got. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thing. Come back.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're giving up, sir. You know what? You're not strong enough.
I'm gonna lift this thing over my head.
Oh no!
You pull a muscle.
I've had a long day. Leave me alone, huh?
Oh yeah, we need to go. We have to go get a cart. I mean, seriously, there's two bodies here. We
Alright.
don't have that much time in the day.
A true
We're gonna
strongest
count.
man alive is strongest 24 hours of the day, 365 days of the year.
This,
Which is for you, sir. It's all the time.
Cruising
Yeah,
for a
all the
little
time.
slap.
and I think both Lizard Man and Zerg would walk up to in front of Selwyn.
Yes.
We're gonna go get a cart.
We'll be back.
Oh shucks.
So are we all heading to go get a cart then?
I'm gonna lean up against the boar.
You're just
Okay,
gonna
yeah,
you're
he's
just
just
staying
waiting.
there.
Yeah.
All right, he's gonna wait. The two
It's
of
a nice
you
day.
walk the half mile back over to the campus grounds, circus grounds. Grab one of the roustabout's larger wheelbarrows used for hauling some like the bigger nets or the canvas of the big top itself out to put it in position. Take it, wheel it all the way back another half mile, back through Averton, back down to the Odland Orchard. They show up about 30 minutes later. while Arvis, Ara, and Selwyn have just kind of been waiting around the corpse of the boar.
On the way back to the tent, you gotta be more careful, Zig. You can't put on any muscles. It's dangerous. Can't do that stuff. You gotta watch out for yourself.
Very tired. I've not slept a lot recently.
We're gonna have to take some rest. I mean, this is you can't be get muscles. What do we do?
Yes. What will you do with that strongest man on the planet, huh?
Yeah, we'll have to take a bit of a rest.
Yes, I need a couple days of nothing.
Didn't you say you had a
maybe
cousin,
Ilva's
Zerk?
doing. Huh?
Didn't you say you had a cousin?
Cousin.
Nurk.
I have big family. Yes, the Betsky family very big. I don't talk to them very much. We don't get along. Personal reasons. Do not want to go into it. Why you ask so many questions? Who are you? Get away!
Hi, I'm Selwyn. We traveled for a while. How's it going?
Don't worry about it though. We'll get that
I didn't realize the boy
cheeky
hit
lady
your
with
head.
muscles to give you a massage.
I'm very sorry.
Ilva can give me massage. Maybe I ask
Yeah.
nicely.
Ask him. She'll probably
you
fix it right
ask
up.
nicely, Eve will give you massage. So you spend some more time trying to load this massive boar up into the wagon, which isn't terribly difficult for the two of you. Zerg not just pulled a muscle in his back. He's not feeling too great right now, so it's a show of another maybe 5-10 minutes trying to get this thing ready to transport. And as you heft it up into this wheelbarrow, the sturdiest metal wheelbarrow you can find, it squeaks down with the great weight on its axles. Shuddering, wheels kicking out a little bit, bowing, but it doesn't break. I was going to say it's born worse, but that's entirely false. By this point, the sun started to pass. It's getting into afternoon now. It's probably about 1 p.m. You go to haul the boar back to the circus grounds. This is good food. This is good bacon and pork. This will feed the lot of you for at least like 2 or 3 days, because there are a lot of people that work in the Circus of Wayward Wonders. A couple dozen of you. Even a whole hog's only going to last so long. But it'll definitely save the circus some coin. As you're wheeling this back in, past the center of town again, back past Varn Tarvel's shop, you see a small crowd that is gathered around just on that main corner, near the center of Aberton. And you can see something flying up and down in the middle of it. Little white sticks, it looks like. And you hear a lion roar, to which the crowd all kind of gasps. There's a bit of a smattering of applause. Maybe like 100 feet out from this.
What do you think that is?
Driven by
Hey.
insatiable curiosity, I try to squeeze between people's legs to go take a look.
So, Aura rushes forward. How about the rest of you?
I'll follow along. Also going for people's legs.
Little people unite.
You all move forward, just trying to get a better view of what exactly is going on here. And as the group approaches the crowd, you hear a voice ring out. A woman. And one that you recognize. Prepare yourselves and your souls, people of Aberton, for a cavalcade of celestial marvels. For sights so spectacular, so marvelous, you shall speak of them forever, a show to surpass any you have seen. Certainly the sham they put on for you yesterday. Prepare for the dawning of Mistress Dusklight's celestial menagerie. And as you weave through the legs, and the two of you make it to the side of this crowd, the rest of you kind of just pushing through behind. 3 members of the Celestial Menagerie that you actually recognize, seeing as well all of you come from there. The one speaking, standing atop a chair, bearing a riding crop in her hand, while a lion prowls around the base of it, goes on stage by daring Danica. She is one of the barkers for the Celestial Menagerie. And with her, the source of these flying white sticks here, is your old boss, Selwyn. One of the head clowns of the menagerie goes on stage by the name Jellicoe Bounce Bounce. Much more exciting than Alderin Findlesworth, his actual name. And finally, the third. Another man with one roaring torch in his hand. He's inhaling the flame from, licking it back as he holds it over his head. The performer Victor Volcano, juggler and fire breather. You recognize all of these, of course, from your time in the circus. The previous circus, of course. All three of them seem to be pretty involved in giving off a bit of a show for the crowd that's trickling in around Aberton. There's not a lot of people that live in Aberton, so what's growing up here is most of Aberton, realistically, and they seem pretty impressed.
I'm gonna give a little clap.
I'd turn around and rush back to Zerg.
So, Zerg and Lizard Man, you still back with your wagon with the dead boy?
I'm not gonna leave the wagon. Are you kidding me? If someone steals our wagon.
They can't lift it. Let's have a look.
Okay. All right.
So you just kind of leave it there in the road. As Selwyn's clamping in the front here. And Danica looks down to you, extends one bright white gloved hand forward, and tips off her great top hat. Ah! If it isn't one of the cheap imposters of the previous show! Soon, we'll give you much better, what the good people of Aberton deserve. A real show, not some amateurish parade of feeble animals and these struggling charlatans. And, Alderin, juggling his bowling pins, kind of bounces over, skipping on one leg backwards towards where Danik is indicating, and looks down. Ha 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 ha! Selwyn the soft. Couldn't take it with us, left to do her own. What a waste! And as one pin just drops in front of him, he doesn't look at all, looking like it's gonna miss, and kicks it up with his free leg before he puts it back in his rotation, catching everything in one hand, shuffling it under his other arm. Why even bother? The townsfolk are a little confused now.
I'll just look at him. Oh, hey, Bounce. Your performance is a crime. Does your mistress still beat you in her spare time?
And you feel a wave of heat as a gout of flame just kind of blows across just a couple of feet back in front of the group, and there's gasps as the townsfolk step back, leaving just kind of you there. Before Victor, with two of his torches here, just tossing one end over end in one hand and holding the other above his head. Oh, this is big talk from small gnome, not juggle knife good.
You know, I'd feel a lot more threatened by your insult if you could speak in a complete sentence.
I understood every word. I don't understand.
The townsfolk kind of...
So you're a kindred spirit with this idiot.
Kind of scoot back away from you guys, leaving you in this slowly expanding circle. And so Danica puts her hat back on, and waves her hands wide, and lashes her crop down at the lion at her feet. And he roars up on his hind legs towards the group of you, who are slamming his paws down, his head forward. And Danica says, well then, you seem so naively confident. What say we all put on a show for these good people here, entertainment for their afternoon, and let them decide for themselves?
Now we're busy.
So, this is kind of a thing. This and your old circus culture here, this challenge is not something made lightly. And she has just in no uncertain terms challenged you to a Carnie throwdown. This is kind of a bigger thing than it maybe should be among circus folk. Are you just going to let this slide?
If it's a big thing, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how big this was in circus.
Well, it's just kind of a matter of pride.
We
Right.
accept.
We accept.
would-
No need to be mushy. A big fat lion in front of a pussy.
So
Jesus Christ.
Danica just smiles as Jellico Alderin puts his pins back up in the air, flipping them. Ha ha ha! What the show this will be! One side great, the other falling flat. Can you keep your feet this time? And Victor,
Sure, if you can muster a rhyme.
as he shakes out one of his torches and sheathes it back in his belt, doubt. Crown only lands on face. And looks over to Zerg and Lizardman as they come here. Oh, you two are still doing whatever thing you do. Is
Who
cute.
are these bitches?
Well, people of this town, it's the only thing you see terrifying of this lizard is realization you paid good coin to see his show, no? And Danica and Alderin laugh at this, as do a couple of the townsfolk. But they give you space as they back away and more people kind of trickle in here. This is a simple activity, this circus throwdown. It's sort of a 1v1. Each of you is going to step to one of these menagerie performers, and you are going to have a perform-off. Each of you doing a quick, impromptu performance to entertain the crowd, and more importantly, to show up the other performer. Victor here seems interested in leading. He one torch bared as Alderin again catches all of his things and moves back next to Danica and her lion. Watch. Sucks in the fire from his one remaining torch, pulls out 2 other ones from his belt, and throws them in the air before blasting a gout of flame up, igniting the batons on both ends as they fly, catching them and keeping this one-handed juggle with the 2 of them going. Who wants to challenge Victor Volcano?
I'm taking the clown.
Is that the clown or no?
No, it's not the
This
clown.
is-
I'm taking the clown.
Oh, okay.
The half-orc is the clown.
Okay. Well, I'd glance over at Zig. God, these guys. I'd walk in, and I'd be raking my claws into the ground as I walk, and it would leave like like rivets behind me as I walked, just like along the street, towards the other guy.
Okay. As you head in doing this, kind of hyping yourself, you can make an intimidate check. Not as your trick check, but to build yourself up, to try to grow crowd hype as you head in. You don't have to,
Right.
but you can.
Well, I could try.
Intimidate or perform.
Okay, intimidate it is. Okay, let's see if we can. Oh no, I may re-roll it. Oh, so bad. 11.
Do you want to reroll it?
I'll use my session
Before I-
re-roll. I'll
Okay.
use my session re-roll. 14. It's better than it was before because I'm destroying
It's-
their roads.
It's a decent show. Some people get into it, but it is a fairly standard performance. It's not going to give you any kind of a bonus into your trick.
Okay.
So as you head in to start performing, Victor, now with this one torch in one hand, juggling the 2-ended batons with his other. Well, you have claws. This is not impressive. No talent. And throwing them up, throws both of them up, tosses the torch to his other hand before sucking in more of the fire off of it, holding a hand up as they spin through the air, and spraying this gout of flame around full 360 up above the crowd's heads before catching one torch and then the other, crossed, still burning in his hands. This is entertainment, no?
It was very good. This was very good.
And
Shut the fuck up, Gray!
I enjoyed
you do definitely get a bit of excitement from the crowd. They're digging it. He's doing pretty good. Lizard
Okay.
man?
So I'd walk walk straight up to him, like nose to nose, and I'd probably be hulking a little bit because I'm a really big guy. And I grab one of his torches, one of his bats, whatever they are. They're pretty thick, right? They're like
Yeah,
pretty
they're
big,
pretty
like,
sturdy
like,
batons. They're got a solid inch around, and an inch and a half around
Like,
the
would
center
it
where
be
the grip is, and they
impressive to
expand
break
at
one
the
in
ends.
half, or is that just like?
The main torch he has is thick. The main torch he has
anyway.
is thick, and you can absolutely
Okay.
bring it up.
I'm gonna grab that if I can. I'm gonna
Yeah, this
try
is a wad of torch. Like, this is a big around hunk of oil and rag wrapped
Yeah.
wood.
and I'll grab it if I can, and one hand just directly over the fire on one side, and the other side and just right in front of his face, just slowly creak it until it snapped.
All right,
Hopefully.
make me an athletics check.
Okay.
Oh man.
26. 26.
With a 26, snapping, cracking as the wood bends before it crunches in half. You just throw the two halves on the ground, and the townsfolk cheer at this phenomenal display of strength. And Victor, having kind of lost his primary torch, just casts one of his double-ended batons down at your feet. Of course. It would be like you to interfere in trick, child. And just walks away. He's mad.
Words of a sore loser.
Definitely words of a sore loser. He's mad. Crow's loving you.
And I would walk out and flex as I walk out.
Following him up, Findlesworth, Jellicoe Bounce, steps forward, kind of plants his hands on his hips. Ugh! What an odd spectacle. He picks up two ends. You broke a stick. Mighty work indeed. Just tosses them both up kind of carelessly. And catches them both and tosses them again. Reaches down, grabs a couple bowling pins, tosses them up too. Catches the two halves, grabs them, tosses them back up, adds another pair of bowling pins until he's got a rolling set of 4 items in each hand. And he wants the same thing you do, Selwyn, as he looks down to you. So, it's finally time. You've learned the trick.
So can I do an intimidate as I'm walking up as well?
Doesn't have to be an intimidate.
No, but I want to.
Okay, then it absolutely can be an
Yeah,
intimidate.
as I'm walking
It's
through the
however you
crowd.
can hype yourself as you walk up, however you see fit.
Yes. I'll walk out, strike a dramatic pose. Watch out, people. No time for a laugh. I'm against the man who beats his staff. But fret not, my friends. No need to flee. This giant dumb orc is afraid of little me. And I like to make an intimidate.
Try to
Get him,
intimidate him.
Selwyn.
So, for your rhymes and your call out, Miko Rhymes with another 500 bits has given you another hero point, Selwyn.
I'm spending it. This one needs to land.
Okay.
18.
With an 18, you will succeed. The crowd buys into it. Bounce steps back a bit, nodding his head. Toothy half-orc grin, fangs kind of jutting up. You're going to get a +2 to your trick check here.
And I'm not even going to do any juggles. I'm going to be intimidating the crowd.
Okay.
And I have a little thing for it as well. This won't be hard, I need not even cheat. We're against a loudmouth, a fool, a man who can't speak. No need to battle. I won't even juggle. It is enough to see your pathetic struggle. And
This man.
I'll do this very over-the-top dramatization as I'm doing it. 24.
Ooh. It's a pretty solid roll.
26 after the bonus.
26. As you just kind of orate here, speaking. Bounce Mouse is still juggling all his things. What? Pardon? What the fuck is this? Still
You're
not
losing.
an ounce to show, not a bit of trick. And passes.
I think the crowd is
Several of
impressed,
these-
aren't you? And I'll turn to them and like rile them up, like do the hands up for him. Hopeful for a cheer.
As you put your hands up, Bounce tosses the contents of one of his hand, one after another, at you.
Right.
Make me a thievery check.
We'll do Chief. Let's see. For an 18.
With an 18, catches you a little bit off guard. But as you catch one and the next and the next and keep them going into your own act while still continuing your rant against Aldrin Findlesworth, the crowd is clearly seeing who is the winner here. That's very easily going in your direction.
And as it's at its zenith, I'll just drop it. Just drop the pins.
Just, you clench them all, you juggle them, you just let them go, they'll fall on the ground in front of you. Just!
Figured I'm using your juggle pins, might as well imitate your act.
He looks at you, rage in his eyes, just lets all his pins fall to the floor, and steps back and motions to Danica. Danica steps up, stepping down from her stool, picking it up in her free hand, as she points out to Arabis in the crowd. Well then, this weird little mud hobbit, this trash orphan from the streets, has an unnatural connection, a strange magic about her, which animals seem to understand. It's magic, of course. Anyone could do it, given time and study. But even still, manages to be somehow unimpressive. And smacks the lion circling her, who turns towards her, fangs bared, like he's gonna bite her head off, and she just holds the stool up and puts it in his mouth. And he sits there, perched up on his hind legs, his paws up in front of him with a stool in his mouth, his tongue just around the legs of the stool. Not a single bit of training she managed with any in all her time with us. Impressive in its own way, I admit. Now, Arbus, you don't have to be the one that steps to this, but
Oh, I'm definitely stepping in this. Yeah. Is that her thing?
that's her opening performance.
Is that it? You hit him, and he tries to bite. That's not very impressive to me. Huh. I'm gonna kneel down on the ground and look at the lion, and in Druidic, I'm gonna say to him, she hits you. I know she does. She clearly disrespects you. Do you want me to help you disrespect her right now? All you have to do is come over here, and we could ride out of here and make her look like a fool.
Okay. You're gonna try and steal the lion. Make me a diplomacy check. Oh!
Oh, yes!
Oh, baby.
25 natural 20.
With a natural
yeah.
20, the lion turns to you and totters a couple steps forward. He's listening.
It's simple. You come over here. You can be free. I'm just going to hop on your back for the show. To give everybody a show. I am not going to disrespect you, and we can get you to freedom.
And Danica just waves her hands. You see? Nothing! She talks to the thing like it understands.
druid, by the way.
And, yeah, she doesn't know what you're saying, but I mean, you are clearly talking to the lion if she doesn't understand you. And her foul tongues fall as on deaf ears as that. And the lion spits the stool on the ground, just walks over towards you. And
pat him a little
she,
bit.
enraged, steps forward and cracks her riding crop on the ground. Leandris, heel! And the lion walks over towards you and just nuzzles you a little bit, and then turns, showing you his flank, as he just turns and glares back at Danica.
And as I throw a leg over and I saddle up on his back, I'm glaring at her as well.
And the crowd explodes. Not with cheers, but with outright jeers, scorn, and derision. Just laughing stock at Danica.
Joining in.
She can't do anything. She's entirely dependent on this animal for her egg. She just whips her crop on the ground a couple more times. Panic starting to seep in a little bit. She's worried. This isn't going great. She's getting bullied by the crowd and everyone. And then she looks to Angelica Bounce.
Can I yell out something to her?
Go for it.
Come on, Angelica. Just gonna leave your act lion there?
I hate you so much. But it's great.
I love
It's
you.
great. And I can't really deride it right now, and neither can she. She motions to Victor and Jellicoe, and they both come together. And they put their heads in the brief huddle. Danica tells them something, and they all nod their heads in unison. And Jellicoe steps back, and she crosses her hands. Fine, then! Fine! We're still perfectly capable on our own, you see. The best of the best. The cream of the crop. All the way from Escatar, the best you'll find on all the isles. And puts her hands out. And Victor pulls out another one of his seemingly infinite batons. And blows and lights it. And hands it to Jellicoe. And Jellicoe starts kind of twirling it and bouncing it. As she steps between them. Turns her stool back upright. And steps atop it then. Come then! You've your single tricks, your individual performances, but is there anything you've even practiced? Do you even have a show, you wayward louts? And he hands more and more of these pins to Jellicoe, who's juggling them back and forth with Victor, as Victor inhales the flame from the batons that are being tossed around, and blows them in a halo around Danica's head as she speaks. The three of them coming together for a group performance. Party, what do you do?
I would like to step up and motion to Zerg and Lizard. Wave them up to me.
Yep.
Okay. You guys still have your show, right? You got all those things planned? Yeah?
We always have a show ready.
The problem with show is implication that Lizard is not friend.
I'm not your friend.
No, you're not friends. Don't
Wow.
worry. The crowd is dumb. They won't notice. And I'll clear the huddle and walk out. You see a silly show made up of a bunch of roustabouts insulting us? You saw only a fragment of the greatest showdown in history. Today, we give you Zerg and Lizard facing off for real. And I'll gesture them in.
Okay.
Should I make a check on that?
You'll take the lead on this. So one of you basically is going to lead. You can all choose because only one of you is going to make a roll against their
I
group
would not
performance.
lead then because I've already.
It
done
is. This is no matter what you do, this is going to be a performance check because this is about putting on an entertaining act, no matter what it is.
I probably should then. I guess I will, if that's fine with you too.
Yeah.
All right, Lizardman, Zerg.
Can they send their hero points for me so I don't use mine?
No.
I'm feeling pressured here.
The stage is yours, friends.
Yeah. Well, describe your act.
Okay,
I'll
so
hype
as I'm walking away, I kind of swipe at Zerg's chest and snag one of the jars of aloe as I walk away, and I just slam it onto the ground, and it shatters. And I snarl, like my lips reach out, my snarl as I walk away from him. Like, the second bottle's next. That's Russian, that's the wrong one. I'd be like, next one.
Zerg looks Lizard with this. You really want to do this? You really want to do this?
1, 2.
Okay. I practiced this. Zerg is not the smartest man in the world, but he's very good at picking up on people's social cues and reading into people and mimicking almost, perhaps. So a roll will probably define whether or not this goes down as I'm going to describe it here. But Zerg is going to... You really want to do this? Okay, I practiced this. Turns to the crowd. And in the most loud possible voice he can, after watching Thunder for so long, ladies and gentlemen! No accent. Clean English.
What?
This lizard has been vying for my fortune, vying for my strength. But this lizard has pushed me too far. It is time to show who is the strongest man alive. Alive!
Okay. What do you want to roll for that? I'd give you perform, intimidate.
Performance. Oh,
Not
shit.
for-
I believe if I'm the
Hero
Well,
leader,
he's
I'm
rolling.
rolling.
He's rolling a thing too. This is his
Okay.
roll. We'll get to yours.
Oh, okay, well rolling.
So I'm going to use hero point on that one.
Okay, I see a 2 on that there, die.
Okay, that's a 9. No, Zerg doesn't really. Zerg's a bit embarrassed, so he's gonna do it one more time. But 19.
Hey!
19.
Let me update that.
Selwyn, you're gonna get a +1 when your roll comes around.
Right.
The crowd kind of gets into it, but Danica, still standing atop her stool, steps down next to it and just shaking her head. Really? All you've to show is a single one of your own acts from yesterday's lackluster performance. And she nods to Jellicoe, who, as one of the bowling pins comes through, has more just been added to the routine, flings it over towards the lion that Arabis is still sitting on and bounces it off of his shoulder, to which the lion
Can I, like-
roars.
Can I try and block that?
It's not past you, really, because they're kind of off to the side of the lion.
okay.
And it'll bounce off the lion's shoulder, and the lion is going to roar and rear up. And Arbus, are you going to try to stay on, or are you going to hop off?
I am going to try to stay on.
Okay. After his roar, this pin bounces off of him back to Jellicoe, who puts it right back in the juggle. Mix now every other item they're juggling, a flaming piece of wood. And Danica hits her crop on the stool, and the lion rushes towards this juggling ring of fire. You stay on?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna be honest. Not entirely sure what check to ask for here.
Am I trying to
Acrobatics?
squeeze through
Acrobatics
as well?
is my thought. I'm thinking an acrobatics because you're trying to stay on this lion.
What
I would
check
give you-
would he used like a handle an animal? I know that's not a check, but I know
Because he's
there's
not
a
handling it. The lion's going through this circle. I would give you acrobatics or athletics. Just try and stay seated as this lion lunges towards this flaming ring to jump through.
Did he handle it to stop it at all?
You can
Stop it from
try.
running?
If I
This,
see this coming, if I was perhaps a different size, would it be easier to stay on and get through?
Quite possibly. I'm listening.
Like, say maybe spontaneously turning into a black cat on the top of this lion and trying to maintain.
I mean, will it be like?
Yeah, you got little cat claws. Absolutely, if that's a thing you can do.
I can definitely wild shape into a smaller
So,
pest-like animal.
as the lion lunges towards the flaming ring, you wild shape into a small cat latched onto his back. Your claws only spurring him further. And that will absolutely give you a +4 on acrobatics
Okay.
to try to hang to keep on as he jumps through the flame.
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna use hero point on that. We're just burning.
You can't
it,
look. It's the
man.
most important fight of the campaign.
Yeah, it feels like it. All right.
Nice.
All right. Come on now.
Hell yeah.
There it is.
That's what I'm looking for.
so it
Selwyn,
would
you'll get
be-
another +2 when yours comes.
It would be 27 total then, with the +4.
20. Oh, that just barely doesn't critically succeed. So
Okay.
that's gonna give Selwyn another stacking +2. So, Lizard, as this lion rushes, an Arbus transforms, clinging to its back. Zerg announces to the crowd, and the lion leaps through the ring of fire. What do you do? What are you doing?
Okay, so I look at Ara, and I look at Zerg, and I motion slowly. My arm goes out, and I motion for the plant to come closer. As you see the spine, my spine curve down, and a slow body wave, similar to what you'd seen in Arabis's performance when she was dancing with the wolves. And as I slowly move in this kind of almost sensual
No.
kind of movement,
No.
I turn back to Zerg, doing a kind of kickflip, and doing a kind of a kickflip around as I continue my tail, kind of swinging with the moves.
Okay, Zerg.
Zerg turns back to face the lizard man and goes, "So it's finally on. The dance off."
Yes.
One thing, by the way, for Arabis's athletics check, acrobatics, wild shape for the pest form is a +10 modifier.
To acrobatics.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
So it's
that
4
would be-
higher still. 31.
Yeah, that'd be 4 more higher. Okay, Zerg.
Somebody, give me a beat.
I'll start beating.
You have the world's tiniest flute. What are you doing?
I'm pulling out the world's tiniest flute. I practiced for this.
And Zerg is just gonna slowly but surely work his way up to the most incredible robot you've ever seen.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be called a golem? There's
Yes.
no robots in fantasy.
So Lizard Man is doing this like kind of wiggly dance. You're doing the robot. Artemis is a smaller cat, riding a larger cat, jumping through the ring of fire, while Selwyn's in the back, playing the world's tiniest flute.
Hey, you wanted a circus, bro. You got one.
Also, it's called the Clockwork, I think, in this universe.
Clockwork. Yes, like big sexy clock. Yes, you
Selwyn,
like this, lizard? Ah.
Selwyn, I think it is time.
Is
Give me-
Erebus's check a critical success with the extra +4?
It is. So you have a +4 from her. So you have a +6 total. Oh, we have one more. Lizard man. Give me a performance check to aid here.
Okay.
You're dancing.
That's an 11. I
Alright.
could.
Keep it or you're
re-roll
rerolling it.
Everybody's re-rolling. I'll re-rolling. Sand Fox loves to dance. So we're gonna use the Sand Fox re-roll.
Okay.
Try and get a better performance here. We're very good performers. Ooh,
Oh my god.
19.
Oh, baby.
Very
You get
good
another
dance.
+2, so
Very
another
sensuous.
+2.
Like,
Another +2.
mm.
And as this all comes together, before the final roll here, the crowd is cheering. Let's get ready to rumble with $25 hero points for all. The time at Circus Call. Decimate the fools, make their show interesting as a stool. The time for words is done. Let their juggler fumble his pun. The fire is not but light and show. A lizard and orc going blow for blow. Well, it still counts. We'll give you that one.
Toe for toe. I don't know.
Toe for toe! Selwyn! The big roll.
Yep. With a +8 to it. And I'm firmly prepared to spend both my hero points.
Firmly. Well,
Rerolling.
2 on the die. 4 on the
damn
die.
too fast. Oh no.
Well,
With
it's a
2
19.
hero points.
If I donated
up-
2 of my hero points, can he get 1?
Oh man.
Come on.
All right.
Hell yeah.
I will let you 2 for 1 exchange rate.
Okay. Asane and Arcades.
They're by their powers combined.
Yeah.
21!
21?
29!
29 after the +8. You got it. Easy. Easy win. As you completely blow away the Celestial Menagerie performers, turning the centerpiece of their own performance back against them. And as they realize there's really nothing left here that they can do, Danica, quick
I'd
motion
like to
cuts across
yell a
his
jab.
throat. You what?
I'd like to yell a jab at him.
Go for it.
Hey, idiots! Let's tell it his score. Don't you know the part of the service is leaving them wanting more?
They collect their things. Victor snuffs out his torches on the ground, throwing a glare your way. Alderin doesn't even turn around. Danica, with her riding crop, smacks at Arabis, perched on her lion's back, before picking up her stool and ushering the lion back from whence they came. Back out of town.
What if I don't want to give him back?
Yeah, what the heck?
He will keep hitting you with the crop.
Don't hit Arbus with the crop. Hey,
That's rude.
hey. Hey.
What if I just rode away?
She just looks up. As you don't get off, she just hits you another time and hits you again. Get off! Be gone, you wench.
Hey. Don't talk to her like that. I'd start Walking
Oh
over.
God.
Start walking over and meet Megan real hard.
Just turn and look to you and make a almost over-exaggerated scowl back. What? You have a grown iguana?
Wow.
Hey, don't talk to my lizard like that, huh?
Hey, you
Just
better watch
gestures
out.
to Arabish. Leash your dog here and be on your way.
He's
That's
in.
okay.
You've had your win. Take it.
Okay. And I will pet the lion and thank him. You will have your freedoms one day, my friend.
With one last look back at you, just a glare, narrowing her eyes, shooting daggers. Danica turns to follow after Victor and Alderaan, who are just waiting. And they all just kind of slink off. Very, very thoroughly bested. In front of everybody. In front of the
I
entire
counted
town.
4-4.
And a lot of Aberton was here to see that.
Ooh.
The next show you put on is going to start with a bonus of 3 excitement. This is about better than any advertisement you could really give your show normally. You should be thanking them, really. They helped you out.
Technically, yeah.
I mean, I thanked them for the chance to humiliate them.
So you have the 1 carrying over because your last show was a critical success, and now 3 more from this. So your next show in Aberton will start at 4 excitement. Well,
That's exciting.
as the townsfolk here gathered around kind of realize the show is coming to a close, they all cheer, move in towards you. Some of the children throughout the audience very excited, wanting to come greet and say hi and meet the great performers of the Circus of Wayward Wonders. Obviously, as shown here, the best circus in the Starstone Isles. Assuming you don't blow them
happy-
off here.
Happily meet and greet.
I'm
You're-
kind of apprehensive with the people, but
I'll
I come out of hiding.
Ara,
That entire
the
show at
apprentice
all.
who definitely participated, comes
was-
out, and the kids are a mixture of very excited and very sort of scared like that. You know, the one dude in the neighborhood who really overdoes it on Halloween and has the portrait of the kids will walk up to because it's too scary. Got a lot of that. So they kind of linger back, hiding behind the skirts of their mothers, a little afraid of whatever you are, just unsure, and also kind of afraid of the giant lizard man.
I pull some hand-carved toys out of my bag and offer them to him.
Well, there you go. You know how to get into the hearts and minds of the young. Give them tiny toys. And with some things to take home here, you're all kind of bogged down, stuck in the middle of town for the better part of an hour. Signing things, talking with some of the townsfolk, playing up your show the way you know is better than you could ever hope to do normally. Because the next show is certainly going to come. But finally, as they all start to disperse, around 2 p.m., you can get back to your wagon and the hog that's just been kind of left in the
Yeah,
sunlight.
I would have been keeping a close eye on that over there.
No one's gonna steal your 300-pound hog in a wagon. And
just
I mean,
cooking in the
fortunately,
sunlight.
it's late Calistrel. It's still late, or very, very early spring, possibly even late winter, kind of. I don't even know if it's technically spring yet. It's only in the mid-60s out here, so while the sun's beaming down, it's not like it's hot. It's not scorching your bacon and ruining this. And we got a hog to get back to the circus grounds. So, anyway, as we were, you cart the hog the rest of the way back up to the circus grounds. Deposit him there. And then what? It's still fairly early in the afternoon, and you've still several other leads to follow up in town, should you so choose. You know the House of Golden Laws was circled on Ariadne's map, the Church of Abadar in town, and
Right.
Cubby smelled something a little off in there. And there's also the gang and the Mad Mug, who, with the disappearance of the sheriff, well,
Well, it's gonna be a few days, right?
Mayor Holden has no real way to deal with. Yeah, you don't have to head back
Yeah.
into town immediately. That's what I'm asking. When you return back with the
Yeah.
hog to the circus grounds, there's some people kind of scattered around. The roustabouts doing their business, but most people are just kind of relaxing. There's no show in the immediate future, and no one really is preparing for anything.
Mm.
A couple of acts would be in the rings practicing. Let's go ahead and say that Tulip is out there with Mr. Tickles right now, still just making sure he's recovered from his goblin pox. One of your practice rings. And get her in. The bearded man's tending to the elephant. A couple of the rest of the circus members, if you're after anyone in particular, is kind of scattered around or in their wagons. It'd be easy to track anyone down. But it's up to you guys. What are you after? You have a giant hog.
In my tribe, after a great success, we would have a party and we would all dance around the fire, celebrate.
You know, that's not a bad call. And I'll walk into the camp. You guys missed a fucking show.
We were fantastic.
They were fantastic.
And I'll boom as far across the circus grounds as I can.
I mean, you, for a tiny little gnome, have a pretty large voice. And the professor would be kind of near the middle here. Turns and just sort of looks at you, an eyebrow cocked. A show? I thought you were investigating.
Oh yeah, we were. But then the Celestial Menagerie appeared and challenged us to a circus off, and we couldn't say no. So I beat Bounce Bounce to hell and back. Didn't even have to do an act; just had to insult him a lot. It was awesome.
And Tulip is heading over from her ring as she's seeing the group. You kind of arrive and makes her way over. Oh no! By the graces, Bounce Bounce. What's the menagerie doing in Abington?
I tried to upstage us, I imagine. Big assholes as usual.
And oops, wrong one. The
Wild.
professor sort of shrugs. Unsurprising, I admit. I wouldn't really put it past them, as I shouldn't. Well, they appear to have done it. If you held your own, though, that's the best
Oh, we did a
advertisement.
lot more than hold our own. They got crushed.
Well, then it's a damn shame we missed it. Perhaps we
Aberson
should
sure didn't.
think about putting a show on in the near future. Possibly. Well, did you find anything for their Holden?
Baby steps.
Got a
We
ball.
found a boar. We found a
found-
lot of wasps.
A lot of honey too.
Yeah,
And,
don't remind me about the honey.
Seeing that everyone, all the elders of the circus are kind of gathering around here, Bartholomew comes over, still seemingly in full costume, sans his helmet, and he just comes striding over. Oh, fantastic! Oh! And sees the huge dead boar missing a leg and a tusk at the cart, just turns around, puts his hands on his knees. Oh! Joe! God! What is that? Oh,
Dinner.
God!
I believe that's a
Why?
hawk.
And Tulip just kind of looks at him. It's just a pig. Lad, are you all right? Yeah, I'll take care of Bart. You fill the professor in, and that's gonna be some good eating, I imagine. Look, Bart, are you okay? It's she puts an arm around his shoulder and just kind of leads him back away from this. And the professor just look at that for a minute. Well, anyway. Baby steps is steps indeed. Still, though, as soon as this is done, it may be wise to put on another show.
Absolutely. I just need
You
to figure
want
out my
to-
new act.
Our last performance was spectacular, and this menagerie is in town. I don't know to what further lengths they'll go to try to unseat us. We all know Mistress Dusklight, unfortunately. We don't want to give her too much time to work her machinations.
They got any money left over here?
Any?
Money
Money?
left in this town? We already took the
Oh.
money.
He kind of looks out towards Abington. Well, that is a fair point. Perhaps we're out here trying to milk a dry teat. Abington's not a particularly large place, but there's not much larger on all the Isle of Arran save for Escadar itself, and heavens forbid we travel there. No,
I
Well,
think it's worth a
doesn't-
shot, right?
It doesn't hurt to try. We're already here and largely prepared. We've left the tent stakes in place. It'll be much easier to establish the rest of the canvas and advertise the show while we're in their good graces.
Okay, fair enough.
Well then, tell me what you've found. And I assume you've no really reservations about catching the professor up
No.
on your adventures
Yeah.
so far, so you let him in on what's happened over the day.
I would give him a very detailed account of that garden too.
And a spider, I imagine.
So,
And-
here, a little more of the afternoon passes, and the professor listens to your story. Some of the other actors in various roustabouts and sideshow coming in to listen as they will. And at the end of it, the professor kind of nods. Well, it seems there's a fair bit of woe that this druid was able to sow before she came after us directly. I have to worry about what may be left, but it seems you've gotten the worst of it as far as I understand. From what the sideshow told me, that wild boar attacks and the missing Houghton family seem to be the head concerns alongside the sheriff having disappeared. Unfortunately, we've no real leads as to what's happened with them, but
Do we know what race the sheriff is?
she was a human. The
Okay.
vast majority of Everton's humans.
Okay.
Wasn't a gnome though. Is what
Yeah, that's yeah.
Not a gnome. No, it was not a gnome. It was-
No.
we also know the
Could've
Houghton
been
is a
a
human
gnome sheriff.
family.
Just checking, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good check.
Yeah.
But no, there's nobody high up in the town who is a gnome, and there's nobody that the professor can think of that could be, other than just an unfortunate townsfolk who again ran afoul of the boars tending to or taking from the orchard. Well, according to that map that you showed, there's still the church, and Cubby seemed quite convinced something was awry there. I must admit it feels that the muggers seem to be an odd link here. More a problem of the town than something this druid has sown, but that doesn't diminish the threat. If word gets out the sheriff is gone and this gang is already bold enough to operate in public graces from this bar, I shudder to think of what steps they'll take knowing there's no law to stand against them. The town has to have money to pay us. We can't let them run into absolute anarchy.
I still think we should have a big fat party given today's success.
Oh
think it's
no, I
deserved.
holistically agree, given the success and the spectacular amount of free pork you've brought back. Is it safe enough, I assume? It looks like it was particularly feral before you brought it down. Should probably give it a cursory check for sickness. Last thing we need is rabies racking our camp. But then we'll get it prepared.
Ray.
And
Okay,
you
I
would
check.
you would be able to easily spend some time checking it over, ensuring that the boar itself isn't rabid or going to be any sort of a problem. Before some of the roustabouts or whoever wants to take the lead on cooking the thing would stoke the fire as afternoon progressed. Bring out some just massive metal grating and big old stone slabs to lay alongside to roast these huge haunches of pork. And it's going to be a fantastic evening. It's going to be a great rest. Everyone will have plenty of time to attend to what wounds you have left for the day and bring everyone up to good standing. And give an evening feast by the fire, putting all of the Circus of Wayward Wonders back into the spectacular mood they'd had before the initial curtain. Things all seem to be coming together fairly well here. And as the evening progresses with song, merriment, and food, Ulva approaches up to the party. Zerg, I had heard that you have done well investigating this mill. By the word of your own party here, it was due to your bravery you could push through these pests left behind by this druid and search for the missing family.
Elva, it was group effort. Everybody pitched in together. I helped lead the team. I was something of a leader, but it was group effort. Everybody put in together.
There is no need for modesty. Many tales are told in my people of such bravery as a source of inspiration for friends and family both. You share, and she looks over to the south towards your cart. You share simple wagon with your lizard friends, no?
Yes.
Not tonight.
Oh, hey, Zang. I'm gonna be staying in town tonight. Hope you're good.
Yes, no problem. All
Just
good.
making sure.
And she pulls out
Elva.
a little metal hip flask that she has and offers it to you. No, tonight you'll regale me with stories, your adventures. I would very much like to hear them.
And I would very much like to tell them.
Zerg also fucks.
Zerg also fucks.
Or throat. I was just about to say it, but
So, Cubby. Roll 20, come on.
There
Cubby,
he is.
there you go. Cubby,
Yes, such a good boy.
oh,
At
what a
some
good
point.
boy.
in the evening, trots over to Arabis, looks up at her, then
The
turns
Cubby.
and to Selwyn instead.
Oh, he's a good boy.
Hi.
You're putting an awful lot of effort into helping the people of this town, Selwyn. I've been trotting about listening to tales of the folk most of the afternoon.
Look, if there's a cook booty call like Ilvis, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. It's a joke. I've had a bit of the good old circus liquor.
I'm just curious as to why. We don't have any particular attachment to towns. You know, we're a traveling circus. We're not staying here. From what I hear, you're risking life and limb for these people you ain't even know.
I'll give a smile, full grin. It seemed interesting.
Now, that's about what I figured, actually. Well, he kind of just raises a paw. Ain't a whole lot I can do for entertainment given this body. I ain't got none of them thumbs or nothing. But I can read. I read a bit of an interesting biography from a particular gnomish sort. Can't remember the name at the time. It was a beetle something he'd given himself. A story about his unending search for personal gratification, entertainment. Seemed a lot like someone I know. And as best as a St. Bernard can, kind of raises an eyebrow towards you.
Yeah. Sounds familiar, yeah. Could be.
So this is this. I'm a goddamn dog. I ain't picked up on customs too well. And gnomish customs are further beyond me, so stop me if I offend.
Oh,
This-
you can't, don't worry.
This bleaching. This is a real thing. This is something. It's not like it's not contagious.
My visage visibly darkens a little bit.
He's probably
Um,
about never seen you get serious before.
Yeah. No, the bleaching is only for gnomes. No one else. The downside of practical immortality is that sometimes the natural curiosity runs out, and then so does our lives.
So this isn't some kind of a life force, one of them undead sucking situation. You couldn't just pick up one of them fiddle fairies from the other day and bite into them and get your bleaching down. You can't, no?
Nah, sadly, I wish. I keep a full stock of elves. Fae, not elves.
It's a damn, well, I guess the word really is interesting predicament, ain't it?
Yeah, I assume as long as I'm with you guys, I'll live forever. Assuming I don't get brutally mauled to death before. It's been a pretty few close calls the last few days.
Well, gnome curses aside, and he kind of looks back and forth between you and Arbus. I'm pretty sure there's at least a little bit of good in your hearts driving this as well. I spent
Well, man, never know.
the vast majority of my life getting called a good boy, so I'd like to know I can pick 'em when I see 'em.
Oh, you're such a good boy.
Such
I
a
hate
good
you.
boy.
You can't just expect me not to take it when you throw it up.
So, the evening passes without incident. Unless there's anything any of the rest of you want from the afternoon and the setting sun here.
I'd go over to Arbus at some point and be like, "You don't sleep in your caravan, do you?
No, why?
Don't mind if I crash in yours, do you?"
No, that's fine. I'm gonna sleep outside tonight, like usual.
Eh,
Wait for the
perfect.
storm lord.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you very much.
Hey, lizard man.
Oh yeah.
Is that your real name, lizard man?
No, I had a name. A long time ago though.
You had
Lizard man works fine.
you had a name?
And technically I still have it, but I'm probably not that person anymore.
What was your name?
I mean, if it makes no difference, it was Drozic, but nobody's ever called me that.
Jazik. I never had a name.
Well, you could share Drozic if you wanted to, but I don't know if you want to be from the line of Zek lizards.
No, I'm the Stormborn. I can't be lizard.
Oh yeah, it's not a very good name anyways. Lizard works out fine.
Why do you hide your name if it was given?
Because I'm not that lizard anymore. The only person that knew me as that lizard was my mom. It's no longer a thing.
Good night, lizard man.
Good night.
As you crawl into Arbus's fairly empty wagon and crash for the evening. So like I said, you're all at full health. Everyone's got plenty of time to patch yourselves up and do whatever further amount of treatment you need with the rest of the afternoon. So you wake up the following morning and spend your hour preparing before you head out. Everyone's in perfectly good health. As the light of another day rises, another clear spring morning here on the Isle of Arran. We've still got a couple places to investigate. What's the plan?
Can I go up to does my health just can I just put my health up to
You
31?
can all just say health at the max, yeah, because
Perfect.
you would be able to be treated. You had like 8 hours.
I
To do
would like to
medicine
rush up
checks.
to the
You're
to the
fine.
bearded man.
To the bearded man?
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone's got his stuff.
I want my stuff. I want my sword.
Oh, right. I actually completely forgot about that. So you rush to Gadarin as he has spent the majority of yesterday trying to set the rune from Ariadne's sickle into your short sword. Let me see what he can do here. So he's a roustabout. got a pretty decent crafting skill. I will just go ahead and open roll him. And we'll see where he ends up. Where is he? Okay. So it is a... GM screen's behind me. If anyone's ever wondering why I'm turning around to look at this, I literally am looking at the GM screen on this table because it's helpful. Oh!
Oh, that was a ride.
Wow.
I'm actually sad you guys couldn't see that D20. Those
No,
listening, because it was like 3-17, and just barely rolled back over to give you a 23. So he holds a short sword out to you now, with the rune inserted into the flat of the blade right above the guard, and he hands it down. This is certainly a bit of an odd one. Something I've never done before, but the instructions are simple enough. It's this alchemy thing's surprisingly easy, I must say. I don't really know how to tell if it's worked or not.
I believe you've crushed it. I could kiss you.
I
Can't
prefer
quite
you
reach.
didn't, but
Oh.
pleasure to help, Selvin.
Pleasure to receive. And I'll grab the sword. Oh, you're so beautiful, Clara.
So you now have a lesser potency in one of your short swords. You have a +1. So in second edition, +1 is just to attack rolls, it's not the damage.
Right.
But it is a +1 to attack rolls. +1 does a lot more here. I'm right, the bearded man's name is Sig, I forgot. I screwed up. The bearded man's name is Sig. I lied to you. It's not a good iron. So, party. What's today's plan then? Our
Where
two
did
main
Zerg sleep last night?
I don't know. How did Zerg sleep last night?
Did Zerg sleep last night is the question.
Not much.
Oh yeah.
Does Ilva have a wagon or?
The sideshow members all sort of have a group wagon. So,
Okay, so it not a wagon. Okay.
and your wagon's not covered. Uva doesn't seem terribly bothered, unless the strongest not alive is shy.
A little performance anxiety, not a real problem. It goes away.
What is big deal? He's only 6.
I don't want Lizard to get jealous.
Your customs are strange to me. You place such high value on one act between two people, and yet also such strange shame.
Oh, it's not shame. It's not. It's pride. I got the Lizard right now.
Oh, he's gonna go see his bro.
So sometime in the night.
I had a wonderful night. Thank you very much.
So, as the party gathers back, an hour of readying, whatever it is that you need to do for your daily preparations, it seems we've got 2 main areas left to investigate that we have leads on anyway. The gang and the Mad Mug, and the House of Golden Laws, the Church of Abadar in town.
Good deal with the gang real quick.
Come us.
Yeah.
Well, if it's that simple then. Easiest argument ever. I don't think I've ever had a party that's just like, oh, you can do this. Oh, okay. And
Well,
then
the
they do
church
that.
isn't going anywhere. Buildings don't move on their own.
Not anxious to go to that church anyway.
That's fair, I
Yeah.
suppose.
The game's more interesting.
So you follow the main road down into town, and unfortunately basically have to go all the way across the town to the river crossing over here on the west side before a road finally leads down to the Mad Mug on the southeastern side of the town. And as you approach it, just walking up, you can already see a couple of, let's say, vagrant sorts hanging around on the porch. Quite a few of them. And although you just kind of got up readied and walked the basically mile journey straight here. It's at the absolute latest 9:30 in the morning. And they already seem to be fairly deep into their mugs. And as you kind of walk up to the Mad Mug here, approach the place, they see you coming. And the one nearest just sort of turns and looks towards you. The double takes, seeing what appears to be an entire circus coming down towards the mug. And elbows the guy next to him, who turns towards you. Your eyes meet, and you would recognize the dude that you decked at your show.
Oh.
My back
Immediately,
around
fury in his eyes, he whistles and motions for his posse to join him. As they all kind of muster their forces here on the porch. And we'll deal with that next week.
Oh.
We'll head into that particular confrontation. I feel like he is less than happy to see you. But that's just based on the events of your previous interaction and the fact that he hates you. So next week...
He should fear me.
Well, he does not appear to. Well, not when he has 4 dudes behind him, he doesn't. One of which is also his wife, who you ran off.
Dude.
That pair are members of the Muggers. But today, we've had a pretty successful episode, I think. Awesome. We've searched the mill. We've put the wasps down. We've put down another one of these strange elemental mephits. We've stopped the rampaging boars of the orchards. And we got a fantastic opportunity to shit all over the Celestial Menagerie's finest.
Yeah.
Which really...
We shit on him.
That's just so much better than any random combat we could run, isn't it? That's a sense of pride and accomplishment. That's a true victory! And a message, surely, to send back to Mr. Dusklight. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Thank y'all for being here, supporting us throughout the Extinction Curse, and with the gratuitous amount of hero points that have been flung towards the party today, to then immediately be burned, admittedly, on pretty good reasons. You couldn't lose the big group showdown. You couldn't get shown up. Not after all the blood that had been laid down over those opening acts, those 1v1s. You had to cinch it in. We will see you all here. Same place next week. The best place on Twitch to spend your, what do they call it, social distancing.
Oh, it's just stupid.
Your self-isolation. Come hang out online with us. Only thing you're going to catch is probably a lower IQ, realistically. We are,